This is breaking news on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. The Supreme Court is set to hold a special en banc session on the quo warranto petition filed against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. A landmark decision.
If they say so, then we have to respect the rule of law.
We would rather focus our attention in making a plea, an urgent one to the 8th, for them to please properly do the right thing.
On whether to keep a sitting Chief Justice in her post.
Ang pagtatanggal ng isang maestrado sa Korte Suprema ay hindi ayon sa desisyon ng barkadahan. Hindi pwedeng baliin ang sunod-sunod na mga jurisprudence, constitutional principle para lang tanggalin yung ayaw ng barkada.
Or tell her it's time to go.
These are perjurious acts and that bolster her utter lack of integrity. Aside from the fact that 11 SALNs were not filed by her.
The Supreme Court will decide on a quo warranto petition that will seal the fate of Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. CNN Philippines is closely monitoring the situation in the Supreme Court. Our correspondents are on the ground. Anjo Limario will tell us what is expected to happen today. Rex Remitio is monitoring supporters of the Chief Justice. AC Nichols will be reporting on the protests against the Chief Justice. She's also monitoring the security around the area. First, let's talk to Anjo Alimario. He's been monitoring this development since day one. Anjo, what can we expect today?
You know what, Pinky? It's been a tough journey for Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno leading to today. Her fate lies in the hands of her 14 colleagues at the Supreme Court. She had to fight not just her impeachment complaint but also her quo warranto case. Now, her lawyer tells us that she will be presiding over that special en banc session at 10 in the morning. But when it comes to her case, her quo warranto case, she will inhibit. And that's also her appeal to 6 other justices to do the same, to Associate Justices Teresita Leonardo de Castro, Diosdado Peralta, Lucas Bersamin, Francis Hardilesa, Samuel Martires, and Noel Tiham. Now, we don't know yet, Pinky, how long will these deliberations will last. But to recall, Solicitor General Jose Calida initiated that quo warranto case against Chief Justice Sereno for allegedly failing to show that she's a person of proven integrity because she failed to file all her statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth to the Judicial and Bar Council when she applied for the Chief Justice post. But Sereno argued that she religiously filed all her SALNs. It's just that she can't find some of them. Now, 8 votes, Pinky, 8 votes are needed by the Office of the Solicitor General to grant its ouster petition against Sereno. And if Sereno loses her battle here at the Supreme Court, she can still file a motion for reconsideration. Now, Sereno, of course, already protested against this quo warranto case against her since it was filed, calling it was illegal. Now, Sereno says being an impeachable official, she can only be removed through impeachment. And she has repeatedly appealed to Congress to let her trial at the Senate to begin in order to tell her story to the Filipino people. And she insists that this is not just her fight. Pinky?
Anjo, the Chief Justice, was back at work 2 days ago, and it came as a surprise to, well, some of the people over there at the Supreme Court, and we're showing pictures of the Chief Justice. Also, she's already there today, right, Anjo?
That's right, Pinky. Chief Justice Sereno is already in. She's wearing a pink top with rolled-up sleeves. And according to her spokesperson, she's wearing pink to symbolize her happy state of mind, that she's happy doing what she's mandated to do. So it will be interesting, Pinky, to find out later how her 14 peers at the Supreme Court will face the Chief Justice when she arrives at the en banc session room at 10 in the morning when the special en banc session starts, Pinky.
Anjo, that comes 2 months after her indefinite leave. Anjo, are all the justices going to be present today in the en banc session? Would you know?
Well, the information that we have, Pinky, is that there are two justices who will not be joining today's en-banc session, but we've been told that they left their votes to Chief Justice Sereno or either to Acting Chief Justice Carpio. But of course, if Sereno will preside over that special en-banc session, the votes will be left with her, Pinky.
All right, thanks a lot. Anjo Alemario reporting to us live from the Supreme Court. We now have on the line former Supreme Court Associate Justice Antonio Eduardo Nachura. Justice, good morning to you, sir.
Justice, ay, Pinky.
Justice, kamusta po kayo?
Okay naman, okay naman.
Justice, I wanted to get your thoughts on, well, number one, the en-banc session that will happen today. The Chief Justice will be present during that special en-banc session after 2 months on an indefinite leave.
Okay. So, yun na nga eh. Itong pag-uusapan natin will become completely moot and academic when in 2 hours.
Well, totoo po yun. Pero it's also good to talk about it now prior to, sir. I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Ano ho bang inyong nakikita na posibleng scenario? Yesterday, sir, we were speaking to, well, Congressman Ray Umali and the spokesperson of CJ Sereno. Sabi nila, her being there during the en-banc session will actually be awkward. Yun pong sinabi ni Congressman Ray Umali. What are your thoughts, Justice?
I feel na the justices will vote on the basis of their own appreciation of the availability and the appropriateness of the remedy before them. Kasi ang issue is the issue apparently is co-warrant to a proper remedy here to test the validity of the appointment of the Chief Justice. Mukhang dyan divided ang maraming abogado. Ako, from my standpoint, I am doing this purely on an academic, from the perspective of an academic discussion. So, sabi ko, wala akong I don't want to judge Chief Justice. I am not in a position to render judgment on her, and I don't even know kung ano man ang maging desisyon ng Supreme Court. I think I will not be happy over one decision or another. Hindi ko I am not at all involved. Not emotionally or personally, wala akong dito. Ang problema, ang ko lang, dahil academician ako, nanggaling ako sa at nagtuturo ako ng batas, so, ang akin tingin na hiwalay naman ang co-warranto sa impeachment. Impeachment is a mode of removing the president and other constitutional officers through. It is also a mode of removing the Chief Justice. Yun na nga. Admitted yun.
Yung impeachment, Justice.
But I don't know.
So malinaw tayo on the impeachment. It's a means to remove the President, for example, or the Chief Justice. You agree with that?
Yes, of course.
What about the co-warranto? What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are this. Co-warranto is a legal process and a legal remedy provided in our laws. When will you apply co-warranto? Will it apply only to lesser individuals, the Chief Justice? Will it be made to apply only to... Yun ang sinasabi ko. When will it apply? Will you use co-warranto as a remedy to test the validity of an appointment?
So that's my question. As an academician, Justice, kailan ho ba pwedeng gamitin si co-warranto?
Yun ang aking sinasabi. Pag ang conditions under the law are present, then co-warranto will lie.
Can you repeat that, sir?
Yun. So, if there are grounds to say that an appointment was flawed from the very start, that it was void from the very beginning, I don't think that you need an impeachment for that purpose. I think co-warranto would be an appropriate remedy.
So,
Bakit hihintayin pa natin mag-impeachment kung talagang hindi naman dapat na
Pumunta pa doon.
kilalanin ang appointment, ang validity ng appointment na yun.
okay. I understand what
That's
you're
my
saying.
position.
So you're saying it's a legal remedy. The quo warranto is a legal remedy in
Yes,
such a case.
para sa akin. And,
Okay.
and the other issue, I think, is the propriety of the Kalida petition, because it was filed many years after the so-called reason for the
Are we talking about the
challenge.
prescriptive period, Justice? Yung Rule 66.
66, yes.
Opo, Rule 66 ng quo warranto.
Yung quo warranto.
So, let me...
Nakalagay talaga na 1 year. Totoo yun.
So,
Totoo
paano yun, Justice? Nag-lapse na ho ba yung 1 year because si Chief Justice na italaga in 2012?
Okay, ang akin yan. Ang interpretation ng prescription, the law on prescription, it has always been from the time of the discovery of the cause. Kamukha ng crime. When a crime is committed, there is a period of prescription for you to charge the person who committed the crime. Beyond that period, the person who committed the crime can no longer be charged. That is all because of prescription. Pero naman, kung hindi naman nalaman ng police, hindi nalaman na ginawa niya yun, how can you in conscience say that the 1 year period has started to run? Kung wala nakakaalam na ganun ang nangyari.
So the rule, so I'm clear about this, Justice. Yung Rule 66, yung tungang 1 year prescriptive period, only applies upon discovery of the cause or the problems or the violation.
Because if you say that it is from the date the cause of action arose without anybody knowing that the cause of action had already arisen, how can you expect a case to be filed within the 1 year period? From knowledge, dapat talaga yun. From knowledge.
Okay, at
Yes.
least that's clear, Justice. All right, so
yun ang aking, oo.
pero this is going to be a landmark decision. Whatever happens, Justice. I just want to ask one more thing, sir. Meron ho ba kayong, as an academician, is there any other alternative you're seeing that the Supreme Court may decide on this? Because either they will grant the quo warranto, Justice, or they won't grant it, or they can say that it needs to go through impeachment. Meron pa ho bang iba silang pwedeng pagbasihan dito?
Ang tingin ko lang, the first thing they will decide on will be, yun na nga, is quo warranto a proper remedy here? Yun muna. And then, the second thing, if they say that it is not the proper remedy, then they will dismiss the petition filed by the Solicitor General. If they say that this is a proper remedy, then they will examine the petition of the Solicitor General and see if the grounds raised by the Solicitor General are valid. So, dalawang steps ito. First, to determine whether quo warranto is the proper remedy. Pangalawa, whether on the basis of the allegations made by the Solicitor General, there is reason to say that the appointment of the Chief Justice was invalid from the very beginning.
Maraming salamat po sa inyo, Justice Nachura. Thank you for your time, sir. We'll be taking a short break. When we return, we'll check on the rallies in support of against the Chief Justice. Keep it here on CNN Philippines. This is breaking news on CNN Philippines. The Supreme Court will be holding a special en banc session today. They are expected to vote on the quo warranto petition against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. The Chief Justice returned to work on Wednesday after she went on an indefinite leave over 2 months ago. Her camp said she will preside over today's session but will inhibit when it comes to her quo warranto case. Supporters of the Chief Justice held a vigil outside the Supreme Court and are holding a so-called Jericho March as her fate as the Chief Magistrate hangs in the balance. Our correspondent, Rex Remigio, is with them right now. Rex, how's the situation there?
Well, I'm now at the corner of Padre Paura Street and Taft Avenue here in Manila, where, as you can see, militant groups that are supportive of the Chief Justice have just arrived. And this entire stretch from this portion of Padre Paura on Taft Avenue all the way to TM Calao is where militant groups are converging. They're composed of what they call themselves as Liberal Democratic Caucus. They're composed of members of the Liberal Party and progressive groups like Makabayan. They are chanting basically political protests. They're saying that we need to defend democracy. Hindi dapat humusga ang nag-aakusa. Defend the rule of law among others. And be advised that this portion of Taft Avenue is already impassable to vehicles, as well as the entire stretch of Padre Faura from Taft Avenue all the way to Rojas Boulevard. And as you can see right here, they're saying that this is more of a religious rally than a political protest. They're holding vigils. They are storming the heavens with the prayers and worship songs. They're hoping for a miracle that the colleagues of Chief Justice Sereno will not vote to oust her. And they're saying that they're not actually here for politics, but more of the independence of the judiciary as well as the Filipino people. It's a sea of purple and white here. They're just basically holding prayers. They just attended a mass with Father Robert Reyes this morning, and it's more of a solemn type here in this portion of Padre Faura. Now, other supporters are holding a Jericho March around the Supreme Court. This will last supposedly until 9 in the morning. Reyes says they last held a Jericho March around the Senate complex in 2001 during the impeachment trial of then President Erap Estrada. This was when his allies in the Senate refused to open the envelope that supposedly contained damning evidence against Estrada. Reyes, however, laments what he calls a suppression of the right to assembly and freedom to religion, as the police is blocking Padre Faura, as you can see on your screens right now. Now, Sereno supporters are praying that God will guide the justices in their deliberation. This despite reports her ouster is already a done deal. They're hoping that truth, reason, and justice will prevail over the hearts and minds of the magistrates. They also say this is not only the fight of Sereno, but also of the Filipino people and the democracy in the Philippines. Pinky.
Thanks a lot, Rex Remigio, reporting from Padre Faura in Manila. Let's now check on the protest against the Chief Justice. Our correspondent AC Nichols is there. AC.
Pinky, supporters of Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno have been camped out near the Supreme Court since early morning, but her critics refuse to be outdone. They are also gathering along the streets of Padre Faura, led by the Citizens Crime Watch and Attorney Ferdinand Topacio of the VACC. Both are staunch supporters of President Duterte. Now, this group, though, is visibly smaller compared to the pro-Sereno rally. What they lack in numbers, they compensate in loudness. They carry tarps with the words "Sereno resign" as they chant phrases in support of the quo warranto petition. Now let's talk to one of the leaders here. He's been hyping up this group since around 8 o'clock this morning, Attorney Ferdinand Topacio. Hi, sir. Good morning. We're live on CNN Philippines. Sir, you seem to be very excited and you've been hyping up this group since kaninang umaga. What are you expecting out of today's special unbank?
Well, of course, we are expecting our advocacy to be fulfilled, which is the declaration that the appointment of Chief Justice Sereno as the Chief Magistrate of the Supreme Court will be annulled and avoided.
You seem to be confident that she will be unseated today.
Well, not really. We are hyped up, as you said. We are very energetic and very passionate about our advocacy. But as you know, as I know as a lawyer, well, anything can still happen in the Supreme Court. No, there's nothing that is certain here.
Okay. Now, what do you say to supporters of the Chief Justice na may statement sila na if the quo warranto petition succeeds, that means democracy will die na rin? What do you say to that?
Well, they are entitled, of course, to their opinion. But of course, I do not subscribe to that. Quo warranto itself is stated in the Constitution as one of the means by which the qualification of any official, either elected or appointed, may be challenged. And we are only giving life to the Constitution, which is an enactment of the sovereign people in a democracy, voted upon by them in 1987.
Okay, so what is your message na lang to the Supreme Court justices who will be voting today?
Well, I trust that they will do as St. Thomas More, to paraphrase St. Thomas More, I believe they will do what becomes them as judges.
Thank you, sir. Pinky, security is very tight here in Padre Faura. Police visibility is high. Authorities say almost 600 uniformed personnel are deployed to ensure security here today. The whole stretch of Padre Faura from Taft Avenue to Rojas Boulevard is closed to traffic. Police vehicles are blocking both sides. All protesters, both the pro and the anti, are not allowed to come near the Supreme Court gates. Only employees from the DOJ, Supreme Court, and UP Manila are being allowed to enter or pass through. Pinky?
Thanks a lot. AC Nichols reporting also from the Supreme Court. If you've just tuned in, we've been monitoring developments in the Supreme Court as justices vote on the quo warranto petition filed against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. We will be taking a short break. Keep it here on CNN Philippines. You're watching breaking news here on CNN Philippines. If you've just tuned in, we are monitoring developments in and around the Supreme Court. Today is the day that justices are expected to vote and decide the fate of Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. She went back to work on Wednesday after 2 months of going on an indefinite leave to prepare her defense for her impeachment case that she may be facing. But she may not even be given the chance to face the Senate sitting as an impeachment court, as her colleagues will vote on the quo warranto petition filed against her by Solicitor General Jose Calida. We now speak to former Chief Justice Hilario Davide. CJ, good morning to you and thank you for taking our call, sir.
Hello.
Chief Justice, maganda umaga po sa inyo.
This is Pinky.
Yes, sir, it's Pinky.
Yeah, good morning, Pinky. How are you?
Okay, sir, we're monitoring the developments in the Supreme Court. Chief Justice, what are your thoughts on today's en banc session, sir?
Pardon?
What are your thoughts on today's en banc session?
What time will it be?
It will be at 10 a.m.
I see. I am here in Iloilo right now, Pinky.
That's right, sir. So I wanted to get your thoughts on the possibility of a decision on the quo warranto petition, sir, filed by Solicitor General Jose Calida.
Okay. Now I would suppose that Chief Justice Sereno would be the one presiding. And I hope, yes. And so there are two possibilities there, Pinky. One, the quo warranto case will be dismissed. And that would be a very commendable decision, and that would be the correct decision. Because if you recall, as early as March 12, I issued already a call to preserve the independence of the judiciary and to safeguard the rule of law and due process.
Mm-hmm.
And I said that the quo warranto proceeding, the petition was filed out of time, and therefore it should be dismissed. Mm-hmm. I also mentioned the fact that there is a proceedings already commenced regarding the impeachment, and that is the proper procedure really for the removal of a Chief Justice. And so, especially if those against whom a motion to inhibit would vote to dismiss the petition, that will again be very commendable. Mm-hmm. At least they've shown their impartiality and the high sense of justice. On the other hand, if it would be a grant of the quo warranto petition, that would be the saddest day in the Philippines for the Philippine judiciary and especially for the Supreme Court. because for one, that would be the doomsday for judicial independence, and of course that would put at risk the integrity of the court. And the court being denying Justice Sereno the due process, and of course not even following the rule of law. I say denial of due process because I would suppose that those also to be inhibited will participate. If they are going to participate, they would really be, I would say that they would show special bias, therefore, and could not decide impartially and with due, giving due process. Due process would also mean that the ones deciding the case would show the highest degree of impartiality, and therefore not at all suffering from any possible bias. And that would be the end as well as to the rule of law, because the rule of law requires really that we have to comply with the Constitution regarding the procedure of removing a member of the court, especially a Chief Justice. And finally, to me, for those who were supposed to inhibit themselves because of the motion to inhibit, for having disclosed their bias, to vote in favor of the co-warrant of petition, would themselves be subjected to what they call a sort of a suicide for them. A suicide for them because there is no more future for them to really hold on to power. At any time, they can also be removed by impeachment.
All right, Chief Justice, basically, just to add on to the last statement you made, that how I'm deducing it, you're saying, Chief Justice, is kung magawa ito kay Chief Justice Sereno, maaari din po itong magawa to the rest of the members of the judiciary.
Definitely. As a matter of fact, for those who voted in favor of the petition, knowing pretty well that it is filed out of time, and that is not the procedure to remove the Chief Justice, would themselves be liable later on. One, it could be for culpable violation of the Constitution in the sense that they know that the only process to remove a chief would really be by impeachment. So that would be culpable violation. And I think they should also consider the fact that many of them may not have decided cases within the period prescribed the Constitution.
Okay.
That again would be culpable violation.
The 1 year prescriptive period.
Yeah. There is a period provided for in the Constitution. And if any one of them may have violated that, then anybody can. They could be subjected to political pressures at any time. And the independence of the court would really be, would really be at risk. Tremendous risk, as a matter of fact.
Former Supreme Court Chief Justice Hilario Davida. Sir, thank you so much for taking our call. I know you're in Iloilo. Maraming salamat po sa inyo.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And CNN Philippines will continue to monitor the special en banc session at the Supreme Court, as well as the rallies pro and against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. We'll give you updates on this throughout the day. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for joining us.
Umaga, ako si Ruth Cabal. Hatid namin ang mga balitang mahalaga sa inyo. Bahagi kayo ng talakayan dito sa Newsroom ngayon. Kapalaran ni Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno sa co-warrant to petition inaasahang malalaman ngayong araw. Isang makasaysayang araw ngayon sa Korte Suprema at sa buong bansa, pagbobotohan ng mga maestrado sa kataas-taasang hukuman ang petisyong patalsikin si Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. Ang co-warrant to petition ay inihain ni Solicitor General Jose Calida. Gustong ipawalang bisa ni Calida ang pagtalaga kay Sereno dahil sa kanyang aniyay kabiguan na kumpletong ipasa ang kanyang statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth na isa sa mga requirement para sa posisyon. Nakamonitor ang ating correspondent na si Anjo Alimario sa sinasagawang en banc ng mga maestrado sa Korte Suprema. Nakatutok naman si AC Nichols sa mga nagpoprotesta laban kay Sereno sa labas sa Supreme Court. Si Rex Remitio tinututukan ng mga nagmamarcha bilang suporta kay Sereno sa palibot ng Supreme Court compound. Unahin natin si Anjo Alimario na nakatutok sa magiging desisyon ng Korte Suprema. Anjo, anong sitwasyon dyan? Nagsimula na ba ang en banc?
O Ruth, kasalukuyan na nga nagsisimula itong special en banc session kung saan nga maghaharap-harap itong sina Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno at yung 14 pa niyang kapwa maestrado. Hindi nga naging madali itong pinagdaanan ni Sereno dahil hindi lang impeachment complaint yung kanyang binubuno, maging itong co-warrant to case. At ayon sa kanyang tagapagsalita ay mag-i-inhibit naman daw itong si Sereno kapag yung kanyang co-warrant to case na ang tinatalakay sa en banc session. At yan din yung kanyang apela sa iba pa mga maestrado, kina Associate Justice Teresita Leonardo de Castro, Diosdado Peralta, Lucas Bersamin, Francis Hardilesa, Samuel Martires at Noel Tiham. Hindi pa natin alam, Ruth, kung gaano ba katagal itong magiging deliberasyon nila sa co-warrant to case laban kay Sereno. At matatandaan natin na mismong si Solicitor General Jose Calida itong naghain ng co-warrant to case laban kay Sereno dahil nabigo daw itong si Sereno na patunayan na siya ay mayroong proven integrity dahil na rin niya sa kanyang umano'y hindi paghahain ng kanyang statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth sa Judicial and Bar Council. Pero ang argumento naman ni Sereno ay naghain siya ng kanyang salens, yun nga lang ay hindi niya makita yung iba dito. 8 boto, Ruth, yan yung kailangan ng Office of the Solicitor General para nga mapatalsik itong si Sereno sa Korte Suprema. At kung matalo man siya dito sa Korte Suprema ay maaari pa rin siyang maghain ng kanyang motion for reconsideration. At Ruth, kasalukuyan nga makikita nyo sa aking likuran din ay may mga empleyado ng Korte Suprema na nakasuot ng pula. Sa unahan ng Korte Suprema ay mayroong tarpaulin na nakalagay na nakasulat ay One Supreme Court. Pagkakaalam natin ay magsasagawa rin sila ng isang prayer vigil sa lobby ng Supreme Court. Ruth?
Andyan, nagkaroon ba kayo ng pagkakataon na makita si Chief Justice or makabalita kung anong mood dyan ngayong umaga?
O Ruth, ang nakita lang natin, ang pinadala lang sa atin ay itong kanyang litrato na nasa loob siya ng kanyang opisina sa Korte Suprema. Nakasuot siya ng pink, yung kanyang sleeves ay nakataas, no? At para sa kanyang mga tagapagsalita, ito daw kulay pink ay sumisimbolo dito sa kanyang happy state dahil nga daw masaya siya na ginagampanan niya kung ano ba yung nakamandato sa kanya bilang punong maestrado na gawin niya sa kanyang opisina, Ruth.
Andrew, matanong na lang din kita kasi may mga lumabas na supposedly draft or may mga bulong-bulungan daw na supposedly meron ng nabuong boto yung mga mahistrado. Anong mga impormasyon ang nakakarating sa inyo dyan kahit medyo unverified or hindi pa naman kumpirmado?
O Ruth, nung itong mga nakaraang araw leading to this day ay maraming naglabasa ng mga report. Merong sinasabi na foregone conclusion, done deal na itong pagpapatalsik kay Sereno. Andiyan na rin yung mga combination ng mga boto ng mga maestrado. Pero hanggat wala pa tayong opisyal na nakukuhang impormasyon at mamaya naman ay mag-aanunsyo kung meron man itong si Supreme Court spokesperson Theo Duterte kung may nangyari bang botohan dito sa co-warrant to case laban kay Chief Justice Sereno. Ruth.
Anjo Alimario, nag-uulat mula sa Korte Suprema. Nagtipon-tipon din sa labas ng korte ang mga kritiko ni Chief Justice Sereno. Nakatutok doon ang ating correspondent na si AC Nichols. AC, kamusta? Anong sitwasyon dyan?
Alam mo Ruth, madaling araw pa lang nagvi-vigil na yung mga supporters ni Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno malapit sa Supreme Court. Pero hindi magpapatalo o magpapahuli yung mga kritiko naman niya. Sila ay nagtitipon-tipon din kung yung mga supporters nandun sa side ng Taft Avenue, ang mga critics naman nandito sa kabila sa tapat ng Department of Justice. Nangunguna rito yung Citizens Crime Watch at si Attorney Ferdinand Topacio ng VACC. Pareho yang mga masugid na taga-suporta ni Pangulong Duterte. Ngayon nahalata natin or napansin natin na kumpara doon sa pro-Sereno rally ay mas maliit itong anti-Sereno group, no? Pero binabawi naman nila sa ingay at sa sigla. Mukhang excited na excited sila habang bit-bit yung mga tarp na may nakasulat na Sereno resign at sila naman ay nagcha-chant din ng mga katagang sumusuporta sa co-warrant to petition. Pero sa ngayon, napansin natin medyo tumahimik sila dahil sinabihan din sila ni Attorney Topacio na magbigay respeto naman bilang mukhang nag-uumpisa na nga yung special en banc session. Pero mag-aabang lang daw sila dito hanggat i-anunsyo ng Korte Suprema ang magiging desisyon patungkol sa co-warrant to petition laban kay Chief Justice Sereno. Samantala nananatiling mahigpit naman ang seguridad dito sa area. Marami tayong pulis na nakikita dito at ayon sa mga otoridad, halos 600 na uniform personnel ang nakadeploy dito para siguruhing hindi magkagulo o maayos lang dito buong araw. Sarado yung Padre Faura mula Taft Avenue hanggang Rojas Boulevard. Sarado yan sa mga sasakyan. May mga police trucks na nakaharang sa daan. May mga mismong pulis din na nakabarricade, no, para siguraduhin walang makakadaan. At napansin natin na ang mga pinapayagan lang na makalusot ay mga empleyado ng DOJ, Supreme Court at ng UP Manila. So on both sides ng mga rallyista ng anti at pro, hindi rin sila pinapayagan na makalapit sa gates ng Supreme Court. Ruth?
AC Nichols nag-uulat. Nagtungo rin sa Maynila ang mga militanteng grupo para magbigay suporta naman kay Chief Justice Sereno. Dumako tayo sa kinaroroonan ng aming correspondent na si Rex Remitio. Rex, dyan naman sa side mo, kamusta ang sitwasyon?
Kung may kita mo sa aking likuran ay yung sanlaksa ng mga taga-suporta ni Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno hanggang umaabot yan mula dito sa may Padre Faura sa may Taft Avenue hanggang doon sa may PM Calaw. Wala pa tayong exact na crowd estimate, ngunit ang inaasahan ni Father Robert Reyes, yung activist priest na isa rin sa mga organizer nitong pagtitipon na to, ay nasa 10 to 15,000. Yun ang kanilang inaasahan sa ngayon. Kung narito ka sa bandang area ng Maynila na ito, wag mo na subukang lumapit pa dahil sa sobrang buhol-buhol na trapiko at maging doon na rin sa kahabaan ng Padre Faura mula sa Taft Avenue hanggang sa may Rojas Boulevard. Itong mga taga-suporta ni Chief Justice Sereno, particular dito sa may bandang ito, ay mga miyembro raw ng Liberal Democratic Caucus. Ito yung kinabibilangan ng mga miyembro ng Liberal Party at ng iba't ibang progresibong grupo kagaya ng Makabayan at iba pa. At kung makikita mo ngayon sa inyong screens ay isang programa na ang isinasagawa dito mismo sa gitna ng Taft Avenue at tatagal ito hanggang sa kahit pagkatapos ng pag-anunsyo ng desisyon kay Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. Ang sinisigaw nila, ibasura ang kuwarato, sandata ng panggigipit at iba pa. Iba't ibang personalidad din ang ating nakita. Andyan sila dating Congressman Teddy Casino, andyan din si dating Education Secretary Brother Armin Luistro, mga aktivista gaya ni Wanna Change at ni Father Robert Reyes at iba pa. Meron ding lumabas na isang manifesto na sumusuporta sa kalayaan ng hudikatura na di mo na pinirmahan daw ni dating Pangulong Benigno Aquino III. Yun nga lang, doon sa manifesto ay wala pa tayong nakitang pirma, ngunit ang sinasabi ng mga organizer, kaisa rin siya dito sa pakikipaglaban nga para sa kalayaan ng hudikatura. Ngayon, meron namang ibang klaseng protesta dito sa mas malapit sa Supreme Court. Ito raw ay mas religious in nature, hindi siya ganon ka-political, na kung saan puro prayers at chants lang ng worship songs ang kanilang ginawa sa magdamag. Humihingi sila ng himala na sanay maliwanagan yung isipan ng mga justices na iboto na o wag nang bumoto doon sa petisyon, sa pag-grant doon nga sa petisyon ni dating Solicitor General Jose Calida. Nagsagawa rin sila ng isang Jericho March na kung saan umikot sila sa paligid ng Supreme Court. Ito yung kumbaga nagsasabi nga na base sa Biblia kung saan kailangan upang matibag yung pader na nandito sa Supreme Court, kinakailangan lang umikot ng 7 beses at isinagawa nila ito ngayong umaga. Basically, ang pinaglalaban lamang nila ay hindi lamang ito laban ni Sereno, kundi laban din ng taong bayang Pilipino at ng demokrasya sa ating bansa. Ruth.
Okay, Rex Remitio nag-uulat mula sa Maynila. Sinuspendid na rin ang klase at pasok sa mga opisina sa UP Manila College of Arts and Sciences na katabi lamang ng Supreme Court sa Padre Faura. Sa Facebook post ng kolehiyo, sinabi doon na nagdesisyon ng Dean na gawin ito para sa kaligtasan at seguridad ng mga mag-aaral, faculty at kanilang staff. Ito'y kaugnay pa rin sa nagaganap na pagtitipon ng iba't ibang grupo sa Padre Faura dahil sa inaasahang desisyon ng Korte Suprema sa kaso ni Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. At yan ang mga balita at isyong ating tinutukan na papanahon at mahalaga para sa inyo. Samahan niyo akong muli sa Lunes. Ako si Ruth Cabal at ito ang Newsroom ngayon.
on CNN Philippines, the Supreme Court grants the quo warranto petition against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. We go to our Anjo Alemario. Anjo.
That's right, Pinky. Our sources from the Supreme Court tell us the Supreme Court voting 8-6 grants the quo warranto case filed by Solicitor General Jose Calida ousting Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. Our two sources from the Supreme Court tell us the voting was 8-6. Those who dissented are Associate Justices Antonio Carpio, Estela Perlas Bernabe, Presbitero Velasco, Mariano del Castillo, Marvic Leonen, and Alfred Benjamin Caguiwa. Now, those who voted to grant the petition of Solicitor General ousting Chief Justice Sereno are Associate Justices Teresita De Castro, Diosdado Peralta, Francis Hardilesa, Lucas Bersamin, Noel Tiham, Samuel Martires, Andres Reyes, and Alexander Gismundo. Again, that's the information that we have. Pinky, voting 8-6. The Supreme Court grants the quo warranto case filed by Solicitor General Jose Calida ousting Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. It's the argument of Solicitor General Calida that Sereno failed to show that she's a person of proven integrity by failing to submit all her statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth to the Judicial and Bar Council when she applied for the Chief Justice post. But Sereno argued that she religiously filed her salens. It's just that she can't find all of them. So, Pinky, we understand that there will be a 11:30 briefing by the Supreme Court Public Information Office to make the announcement. Again, we're still waiting for the official announcement from the Supreme Court Public Information Office, but our two sources from the Supreme Court confirmed to us that the Supreme Court granted the quo warranto case against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. Pinky.
That means that's the end for Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno as Chief Justice, of course, of the Supreme Court. Anjo, she's been fighting this. She went back to work 2 days ago. She said she would be present in today's N-Bank session. And finally, your sources, CNN Philippines sources, saying two of them confirming that it's a vote of 8-6 to grant the quo warranto petition filed by Solicitor General Jose Calida. Anjo, what is the mood out there right now?
You know what, Pinky, when the news broke out that the court granted the quo warranto case against Chief Justice Sereno, we heard a loud cheer erupting from the anti-Sereno camp. And of course, to my left are the pro-Sereno supporters. And I'm hearing Juana Change right now very vocal about the decision of the Supreme Court, again ousting Chief Justice Sereno from her post. Pinky.
You know, Anja, there's been a lot of loose talk about this, about even the votes. I know you're a witness to that. 10-4, could have been 9-5, and now we're hearing an 8-6. People, of course, also talking about this on social media. So, you know, what they really needed, Anja, was an 8. To get her out of the position, to boot her out as Chief Justice. All they needed was a vote of 8, which, according to our sources, they got this vote of 8. Anjo, we thank you for that, but we are trying also to get both sides to get a reaction on this. And right now, Anjo, we'll get back to you in a bit. We have the one of the spokespersons of Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno, Attorney Dainla. She's on the line. Attorney, good morning to you. Attorney Dainla. All right, let's fix that connection with Attorney Dainla first. She is, of course, one of the spokespersons of Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. Let's continue again with this breaking news for those who just tuned in. Sources of CNN Philippines are already confirming that in a vote of 8-6, the Supreme Court grants the quo warranto petition filed by Solicitor General Jose Calida against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. It's again a vote of 8-6. The 6 who dissented are Justices Carpio, Bernabe, Velasco, Castillo, Leonen, and Caguiwa. The mood out there, of course, our correspondents are there. AC Nichols, Rex Remigio, Anjo Alimario will give us the latest happening outside the Supreme Court. There are, of course, supporters of the Chief Justice over there, and those who want her out also present around the perimeter of the Supreme Court, waiting for this landmark decision coming from the Supreme Court. You know, earlier we also spoke to two members of the Supreme Court. They had opposing views on how the justices should look into the quo warranto petition. All right, let's get a reaction now on the side of Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. Attorney Deinla is on the line. Attorney?
Hello, Pinky.
Hello, Attorney. Okay, good that you can hear us. Attorney, what are you hearing from the ground? What is the reaction of the camp of Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno on this 8-6 vote?
Yes, the supporters, thousands of them who have gathered here at the Supreme Court to show their support and to call for they call our magistrates to vote in accordance with the Constitution. We're outraged by this decision, but as we can see, this is a very close vote. The granting of the quo warranto petition won only by 2 votes. So we can see from this that if the Chief Justice elects to avail of her last recourse, that is by filing a motion for consideration, there is hope.
So it is decided, again, Attorney, because it is, as you call it, a close call, that your camp will be filing a motion for reconsideration?
Yes, the Justice is
Attorney Deinla? No. Attention, the line is a bit choppy at times. Are you there?
Yes, hello?
Okay, balikan po natin yan, Attorney. You said that you will file, the camp of the CJ will file a motion for reconsideration?
Yes, she is very likely to file this motion for reconsideration. We'll know later if this will be her next step for sure. So let's watch out for her announcement.
Okay.
But like I said, she is seriously considering this recourse because we know that the Supreme Court has in a couple of, in a number actually, of high-profile political cases, has flip-flopped or changed its mind in its decision.
But Attorney, even if at 11:30 we're expecting a press briefing, but even if she files a motion for reconsideration, just to clarify this, if it is with a vote of 8-6, she is ousted as Chief Justice, even if she files an MR. Is that your position?
No, because the case or the decision has not yet reached finality until the Supreme Court decides on the motion for reconsideration.
So you're saying that she will remain Chief Justice even with a vote of 8-6 because of her, because of a possibility of filing an MR?
Yes, that's her position. But we heard that the decision is saying that she should vacate her position immediately. We heard that it is an immediately executory ruling, but we are yet to verify if this is so.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch a part of what you said. Let me ask this. If in the decision, hypothetically, it says final, if it says final and executory, she ceases to become Chief Justice, is that correct or not? Attorney? Attorney Deinla?
Yes.
All right. I was asking, I'm not sure if you heard me, Attorney, that if in the decision, hypothetically, it says final and executory, does that mean she's out as Chief Justice? Does she cease to become Chief Justice?
What we know, based on experience and practice, is that the ruling will only attain finality after the motion for reconsideration has already been decided upon by the High Court. So we shall await that decision, the decision on the MR, before we can finally say that the Chief Justice has been ousted or is already ousted from her position.
Pero pag nakasulat po yung final, just for the sake of argument, ma'am, final and executory, what is the position of the Chief Justice there?
Alam mo kung babasahin natin yan, ano lang to it's only in consonance with the mga narinig natin reports that her colleagues really want her out and fast, quickly. So, nilagay siguro yan para agad-agad siyang maalis sa pwesto. That's how we are reading it. But of course, we shall await the copy, the full text of the decision before we comment any further.
When is the Chief Justice planning to speak to the media? Is there anything in the offing very soon?
Yes, I think in a couple of hours, we are preparing a press conference with the Chief Justice. So please stay tuned. We will immediately announce the details of this press conference.
Was she ready for this kind of a decision, attorney?
The Chief Justice is conscious of this likelihood, of this reality. So even if she was hoping to the last minute that her colleagues will do the right thing, she knows that this unfavorable decision is likely to come. So she has already steeled herself for this and has in fact prepared herself mentally and emotionally for this decision.
In the event that you file a motion for reconsideration, will you again bring in the appeal of some of the justices to inhibit from the case?
Yes, the Chief Justice will not abandon this appeal for them to recuse themselves because, as we can see, it's only 6 of the justices who have already exhibited their manifest bias and prejudice against the Chief Justice inhibited themselves from the proceedings, and the Chief Justice would have won.
All right, so we will await. When did you speak to her last, though, attorney?
The other day, yesterday I wasn't able to because she was not feeling well, and she was preparing for this big day. So I'll see her later, and yun na, magsasalita naman siya to the public.
Yung boto po na 8-6, nagulat ho ba kayo dito? Was this what you were expecting, or was it more than what you were expecting?
Actually, less, because there were reports earlier that 9-5 or even 11-3 days prior. So, ngayon medyo kung nagulat man kami, siguro pleasantly surprised that it was a very close call and not as bad as we were expecting the vote to be.
Who among the 6 was a surprise for your camp?
We don't know yet kasi hindi pa namin alam kung who cast those votes.
According to our Angel Mario from 2 sources, ma'am, they are Carpio, Bernabe, Velasco, Castillo, Leonen, and Caguiwa. Sino ho yung surprise sa kanila?
Hello?
Attorney? All right, I would like to thank Attorney Dainla for speaking to us, giving us a reaction on the Sereno camp with regard to this breaking news we just brought to you. Sources of CNN Philippines are confirming a vote of 8-6, 8 granting the co-warranto petition filed against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. The camp of the Chief Justice is saying that it is rather a close call, and that they will file a motion for reconsideration considering the vote of 8-6. Still a question on whether the Chief Justice will vacate her post immediately or not. I was asking Attorney Dainla what happens if in the event that it'll say final and executory, but I guess as she answered, she said that they will really have to look into the decision of the Supreme Court. All right, let's get the reaction from Malacanang. Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Sal Panelo is on the line. Sir, good morning to you, sir.
Hear you. Something's wrong with your signal.
Attorney
You're coming
Sal?
in weak. Can you increase the volume of your voice?
Attorney Panelo, can you hear me, sir?
Not very.
Okay, attorney, I can hear you though. Medyo malabo siguro the line coming from your end. But let's try again now. Is this a little better?
Yeah.
Okay, na. Okay. Sir, we'd like to get the reaction of Malacanang on this breaking news, sir. 8-6 in favor of the quo warranto petition.
Well, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised simply because the constitutional provision on impeachment is very clear. If you notice, impeachable officers can, the provision uses the permissive phrase, may be removed, which means that impeachment is not just an exclusive method of removing impeachable officers. Because there will be a situation like this one where an impeachable officer is holding office, but the ground for removing that impeachable officer is not one of those grounds enumerated under the Constitution, like failure to file an SALN, which is a constitutional requirement. So if that particular person is not qualified and hence illegally holding in office, then you cannot remove that person by way of impeachment. You have to file a quo warranto proceedings because that's the proceeding by which the law says you should use.
2 points raised because of this quo warranto, Attorney Panelo, is the prescriptive period under Rule 66 that says basically, sir, in layman's terms, from my understanding, there's 1 year from the time that you can file this quo warranto upon appointment. But there are two ways of looking at this. As former Chief Justice Hilario Davide was saying, that it starts from the time of appointment of the Chief Justice, which was 2012, but you have Associate Justice Nachura saying no, it actually starts from the time of discovery. Dun sa prescriptive period, sir.
Not only that, we've been saying ever since, in fact I issued a statement on that you cannot use the principle of prescription against the government. When the government initiates the action, it does not apply, and that's very clear under the new civil code. And even assuming that you can apply the 1 year principle or requirement, the prescriptive period should commence from the time you discovered that that person is illegally staying in office. Just in this particular case, nobody knew that she did not file the necessary SALN as required by the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And that discovery happened only during the Senate hearing.
Mm-hmm. Does this expose, though, Attorney Panelo, the rest of the members?
Come again?
Does this expose the rest of the members of the judiciary, those who may have also not completed the filing of their SALNs?
Well, the members of the JVC has crafted its own rules. It appears now that members of JVC violated their own rules. So there must be some kind of sanction there.
Yeah, but it doesn't answer my question, sir. Does this expose the rest of the justices who may have not completed filing their SALNs as well?
Well,
I guess,
the same rule will
sir,
apply to everybody.
My question is, pwede rin hubang mag-file ng quo warranto, for example, ang Solicitor General against the other justices of the Supreme Court who did not complete filing their SALNs? Is that in order, sir?
That depends. If the rules on JVC requiring the submission of SALN has been there since the beginning, then that applies.
Yeah,
but if the rules were only placed there a few years earlier, then and it does not apply during the previous years, then it would not.
So I guess it'll depend, sir. We need to take, what you're saying is a closer look at when the JBC or the Judicial and Bar Council began this ruling of filing the SALNs. That's what you're saying, sir.
Yes, because
so
they're the ones who draft their own rules.
Yeah, so anyone after that, or as soon as that rule was implemented, any justice thereafter can be questioned regarding their sal ends, and hence can be filed a quo warranto as well.
Of course, because a rule must be applied to all, regardless.
All right. Attorney, what happens? It is a vote. Sources are telling us it's a vote of 8-6. Paano ho ba yun? Because it's a close call, according to the camp of Sereno, Supreme Court Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno, sir, there's a huge possibility, a big possibility that they will file a motion for reconsideration. My question is, sir, dapat ho bang umalis na kaagad? Tanggal na ho ba siya sa pwesto? Or matatanggal lang ho ba siya sa pwesto after the MR, they decide on the motion for reconsideration?
Well, it is supposed to be an executory ruling, so she will have to vacate the office. However, she is also entitled to file a motion for reconsideration. And given the fact that it's an 8-6 vote, so she can still, I think she has still a chance. She may be able to convince one of them to vote in her favor.
But does she stay? My question is, does she stay as Chief Justice while the motion for reconsideration is filed or is about to be filed?
If it's executory, then she cannot stay in office.
Kailangan ho ba, Attorney Panelo, nakasulat yung, that phrase, final and executory?
What I know is that every Supreme Court decision is executory. But you're given also the chance to file an MR.
Yes,
but to my mind, it doesn't matter whether she's staying there. The fact remains is she has been given a remedy to reverse the decision.
But I think it's also important, sir, to find out that because of this decision, does she need to leave immediately, or can she stay on as Chief Justice while her MR is about to be filed or is pending before the Supreme Court?
I do not think so. It doesn't matter really. For as long as you are given a remedy, then there is still hope for her.
So you're okay for her, sir, to stay as Chief Justice until her motion for reconsideration is finalized?
Come again?
You're saying that it's okay with you as Chief Presidential Legal Counsel for the Chief Justice to stay as Chief Justice.
I'm not saying that.
You said it doesn't matter, sir.
I don't think it matters to anyone. Whether one is going to stay there as Chief Justice during the 15-day period given her, or she does not stay. What can you do in the 15-day period as Chief Justice under siege? I don't think you can do anything anyway.
So if it doesn't matter, you will not oppose or you will not be against?
That's not for me to oppose.
Okay. All right. Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Sal Panelo. Sir, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, we spoke to Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Sal Panelo, also the camp of Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno, on their thoughts on this 8-6 vote. We're showing you live pictures from outside the Supreme Court. Also, we are awaiting a press briefing from Attorney Theodore Te of the Supreme Court. Those are live pictures as well. He will get ready to give us the latest anytime. So let's wait for the official announcement from the Supreme Court. Again, sources are telling CNN Philippines it's a vote of 8-6 ousting Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno, granting the quo warranto petition filed against her by Solicitor General Jose Calida. The camp of the Chief Justice calls this a close call and that they will most likely file a motion for reconsideration on this. They said they were pleasantly surprised with this kind of vote of 8-6, and also Attorney Sal Panelo giving us a side of Malacanang. All right, let's go to the Supreme Court. Let's listen to Attorney Theodore Te.
Okay, let's start. The Supreme Court en banc, during its session today, rendered judgment in GR number 237428, Republic of the Philippines, represented by the Solicitor General versus Maria Lourdes P.A. Sereno. The dispositive portion of the decision reads, quote, wherefore, the petition for quo warranto is granted. Respondent Maria Lourdes P.A. Sereno is found disqualified from and is hereby adjudged guilty of unlawfully holding and exercising the office of the Chief Justice. Accordingly, Respondent Maria Lourdes P.A. Sereno is ousted and excluded therefrom. The position of the Chief Justice is declared vacant, and the Judicial and Bar Council is directed to commence the application and nomination process. This decision is immediately executory without need of further action from the Court. Respondent Maria Lourdes P.A. Sereno is ordered to show cause within 10 days from receipt hereof why she should not be sanctioned for violating the Code of Professional Responsibility and the Code of Judicial Conduct, for transgressing the sub judice rule, and for casting aspersions and ill motives to the members of the Supreme Court. So ordered. Close quote. The decision was written by Associate Justice Noel G. Tiham. The members of the court voted on the following issues in the manner indicated. On the issue of whether or not to grant the petition for quo warranto, the vote is 8-6 in favor. Those who voted in favor are the following: Justices De Castro, Peralta, Bersamin, Hardeleza, Martires, Tiham, Reyes Jr., Hesmundo. Those who voted against: Senior Associate Justice Carpio, Justices Velasco, Del Castillo, Perlas Bernabe, Leonen, Tagiwa. On the issue of whether or not quo warranto is the proper remedy, the vote is 9-5 in favor. Those who voted in favor are Justices Velasco, De Castro, Peralta, Bersamin, Hardeleza, Martires, Tiham, Reyes Jr., Hesmundo. Those who voted against: Senior Associate Justice Carpio, Del Castillo, Perlas Bernabe, Leonen, Tagiwa. On the third issue of whether or not the respondent violated the Constitution for failure to file sullens, 9 justices expressed an opinion. The others did not. The 9 justices are the following: the Senior Associate Justice, Justices De Castro, Peralta, Bersamin, Hardeleza, Martires, Tiham, Reyes Jr., Hesmundo. End of statement. Decision will probably be released by this afternoon. The justices are revising their separate opinions and the main opinion. Once it is released, it will be uploaded to the website. Thank you.
Where is Chief Justice?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Sir? Sir, yung nag-express ng opinion, meron bang finding of violation?
Let's wait for the opinion. Okay?
Option for motion for reconsideration, does it stay the decision or does it continue?
As the decision, the dispositive indicates, it is immediately executory. Thank you. Sorry. Well, he's the most senior.
All right, Attorney Theodore Te giving us the latest there on what was decided upon during the special en banc session today. The first, obviously, would be the granting of the quo warranto petition, 8-6, as we have reported, as our Andrew Alimario has reported a while ago. 8 granting the petition for the quo warranto and 6 dissenting. The second was a question if the quo warranto is the proper remedy. The vote there was 9-5, and the question on the filing of the SAL, and there were 9 that expressed their opinion on this. Technically, of course, just to summarize that, is that the quo warranto petition has been granted, as we were saying a while ago. All they needed was 8 for justices to grant this petition, and that has been granted. Also very important here is that Attorney Theodore's saying that this is immediately executory, and now they have declared the Chief Justice seat as vacant, and they have asked the JBC to commence the application for the Chief Justice. Again, part of this decision was that it is immediately executory. Let's talk to IBP President Abiel Fajardo. He's on the line right now. Attorney Fajardo, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, ma'am.
Just a reaction, sir, on this breaking news, 8-6 granting the quo warranto petition.
Well, it's a very close vote. One vote would have spelled the difference. One additional dissenting vote could have stayed the quo warranto.
Mm-hmm. But it is 8-6. There is no...
Yes. So that's the reality, yes.
Yeah, so in situations like this, do you think there's even still a chance in the event of an MR, sir?
Well, there's always that chance, no? Because an MR is always addressed to the sound discretion of the members of the court. And if somebody changes his mind or is persuaded by the arguments of the continue the MR, it can change. But by experience, of course, we know that that the MRs do not always, well, very slim chances of success in the Supreme Court.
But this is a landmark decision, Attorney. In my head, it's really something that was well studied, that they've had positions on this, they evaluated, dissected this, and again, as much as it is a close call, I wanted to get your opinion that, I know anything's a possibility, but can one really still change his or her mind?
Well, that is why there is such a remedy in the in the rules of court, because there is always that possibility. There's always the chance that the judge or the justice may change his mind, on the assumption that the counsel for the movant has really good arguments or introduces perhaps new facts into the records of the case.
Attorney, let me ask you this. They will possibly file a motion for reconsideration, but given the scenario, what are your thoughts? Because it says it's immediately executory, and that they have called this that she is the Chief Justice seat is now vacant, and asked the JBC to commence application. Plain and simple, sir, does this mean the Chief Justice should vacate her post now?
I have not read the dispositive portion, but if that is the tone that the decision is immediately executory, then it is the Chief Justice has no recourse but to file an MR. But in the meantime, she cannot assume her position as Chief Justice still of the Supreme Court.
Kailangan umalis na po siya, pending any MR.
Yes, in the event that she files an MR within 15 days, then the tone of the decision, if that is true, is for her to vacate her seat.
Yeah, yes. Because sometimes we always have this problem with MRs and this 15 days. Some say that until it's final and executory, we still have 15 days, so they stay in their position. So ito po, it's very clear to you that if this is the tone, as read by Attorney Theodore, she needs to leave now.
Yes, correct.
Aside from, a recourse would be an MR, sir. Did this decision, what effect do you think would this decision have?
Well, I don't know how many justices actually concurred in full, or agreed in full to the ponencia of, I understand, Justice Tiham. But if several justices made concurrences without necessarily, agreeing to all the points of the ponente, it's possible that this may not hold some really long-lasting doctrinal value, in the sense that it is a strong precedent, So I'll have to. We will have to evaluate the tone of the individual opinions of the justice.
I understand, of course, makapal-kapal ho ito na kailangan natin talagang pag-aralan. But just going through what Attorney Theodore had announced, sir, is that number one, the grant of the petition of quo warranto was a vote of 8-6. And then there was a second one, sir, was a quo warranto the proper remedy? The vote was 9-5. And then there was a third expression here on the filing of the SAL-N, wherein 9 justices expressed their opinion on this. I know that it needs to be studied further, sir, and dissected well. But did this kind of voting, you expected this? Nagulat ho ba kayo? Were there any surprises?
No, not really. When I was asked the same question last night, I said that publicly 5 justices have aligned themselves against the Chief Justice, and you just add 3 to that, you get 8. And I expressed the hope that the justices individually would evaluate the case on the merits, and apparently they hewed closely to their earlier statements in Congress. So it was, more or less, close to what
you
we have
predicted.
expected. Yes.
How would you describe this decision, though?
Well, I don't know. I have yet to read the decision of the justices. Yes.
All right, Attorney Fajardo, thank you so much for your time. Attorney Abdiel Fajardo there, Integrated Bar of the Philippines. Let's go back to our correspondent at the Supreme Court, Anjo Alimario. Anjo.
Hi, Pinky. We already got the confirmation as announced by Attorney Theodore of the Supreme Court. Again, let me read to you the dispositive portion of the 8-6 ruling of the Supreme Court granting the quo warranto case of Solicitor General Calida against Chief Justice Sereno. And I read, wherefore the petition for quo warranto is granted, Respondent Sereno is found disqualified from and is hereby adjudged guilty of unlawfully holding and exercising the office of Chief Justice. Accordingly, Sereno is ousted and excluded therefrom. The position for CJ is declared vacant, and the Judicial and Bar Council is directed to commence the application and nomination process. The decision is immediately executory without need of further action from the court. And this positive portion also states that Sereno is ordered to show cause within 10 days to explain why he should not be absent for violating the Code of Professional Responsibility and Code of Judicial Conduct for transgressing or violating the sub judice rule and for casting aspersions and ill motives to the members of the Supreme Court. So they already read that 8-6 voting, and there are actually different kinds of voting per issue. You also have 9-5 voting for the question of whether or not the quo warranto is the proper remedy, and we understand that 9 justices have expressed their opinion whether or not Sereno violated the Constitution for failure to file SAL-N. I ask what are these opinions of these 9 justices, whether there was a violation for non-filing, but let's just wait for the opinions of the justices. We understand, Pinky, the main text of the decision will be out this afternoon, as announced by and included in that main decision are the separate and dissenting opinions of the justices. Pinky?
Anjo, the part where you read this positive portion, the decision is immediately executory without need of further action from the court. I guess if we were to try to understand that better, that means it is a decision now, it is executory now, and there needs to be no more further notices or decision from the Supreme Court.
That's right, Pinky. Awaiting her motion for reconsideration, the decision is already immediately executory. So the court won't wait for her appeal before the decision is executory. And let me read to you. We just got a statement from Solicitor General Jose Calida, an email from Solicitor General Jose Calida, and let me read to you that his statement: the Supreme Court ousting Chief Justice Sereno augurs well for the country as it preserves the stability and integrity of the judiciary. This decision is the epitome of its exercise of judicial independence. I would like to extend my appreciation to the magistrates of the Supreme Court for once again upholding primacy of the Constitution despite the raucous voices of those pretending the champion of the Constitution. The magistrates stayed true to their oath and faithfully adhered to the rule of law. Lastly, I implore the Filipino people to continue the fight against those intending to undermine the stability and integrity not only of the judiciary but also of government as a whole. Again, that's a statement of Solicitor General Jose Calida. Pinky?
We got both the dispositive portion read to us by Anjo on the decision, of course, of the Supreme Court on the quo warranto petition, and also a reaction from Solicitor General Jose Calida. We will be bringing you more updates, more developments from the Supreme Court, in the Supreme Court, and also around the Supreme Court, the protesters there, the anti-Sereno, the pro-Sereno. They have been there camping out. In fact, certain roads around the Supreme Court have been closed to traffic because of the number of people there. We will bring you more developments on this when we air Balitaan at 12 noon, but we continue to try to get more information and more reactions from the people on the ground and those who have stakes on this. We are also trying to get a hold of the other spokespersons of CJ Sereno. All right, so Anjo, are you still there on the line?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so Anjo, I guess we will have to await, according to the camp of Chief Justice Sereno, she will hold, or they rather will hold a press conference. Anytime, are you getting any information on this?
Yeah, that's right, Vicky. The information that we got is that she Sereno herself, will be holding a press conference at 6 in the evening. So she will be facing members of the media on this historic ruling of the Supreme Court, ousting her from her position, Vicky.
All right. Anjo Alimari, we thank you for that live report, and we will get more updates from the rest of our correspondents. AC Nichols is there and Rex Remigio as well. We will be back at 12 noon for Balitaan to give you more updates on this breaking news. Narito na ang Balitaan sa CNN Philippines. Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno pinatalsik ng Korte Suprema. Kampo ni Sereno, iaapela ang desisyon ng Korte Suprema. Magandang tanghali, ako po si Pinky Webb, nakatutok ang puwersa ng CNN Philippines sa mga kaganapan sa Korte Suprema hinggil sa naging desisyon sa quo warranto petition laban kay Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. Pinaboran ng Korte ang kumikwestiyon sa legalidad ng pag-upo niya sa pwesto dahil nga sa hindi pagsumite ng kumpletong statement of assets, liabilities at net worth. Nakabantay si Anjo Alimario sa pinakahuling balita sa Special Land Bank Session. Si AC Nichols nakatutok naman sa mga nagpoprotesta laban kay Sereno, habang si Rex Remigio nakabantay naman sa mga supporters ni Sereno. Narito po muna ang buong pahayag ng tagapagsalita ng Korte Suprema kaugnay sa pagpapatalsik kay Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno.
Republic of the Philippines, represented by the Solicitor General versus Maria Lourdes P.A. Sereno. The dispositive portion of the decision reads, quote, "Wherefore, the petition for quo warranto is granted. Respondent Maria Lourdes P.A. Sereno is found disqualified from and is hereby adjudged guilty of unlawfully holding and exercising the office of the Chief Justice. Accordingly, Respondent Maria Lourdes P.A. Sereno is ousted and excluded therefrom. The position of the Chief Justice is declared vacant, and the Judicial and Bar Council is directed to commence the application and nomination process. This decision is immediately executory without need of further action from the Court. Respondent Maria Lourdes P.A. Sereno is ordered to show cause within 10 days from receipt hereof why she should not be sanctioned for violating the Code of Professional Responsibility and the Code of Judicial Conduct, for transgressing the sub judice rule, and for casting aspersions and ill motives to the members of the Supreme Court. So ordered. Close quote. The decision was written by Associate Justice Noel G. Tiham. The members of the court voted on the following issues in the manner indicated. On the issue of whether or not to grant the petition for quo warranto, the vote is 8-6 in favor. Those who voted in favor are the following: Justices De Castro, Peralta, Bersamin, Hardeleza, Martires, Tiham, Reyes Jr., Hesmundo. Those who voted against: Senior Associate Justice Carpio, Justices Velasco, Del Castillo, Perlas Bernabe, Leonen, Caguiwa. On the issue of whether or not quo warranto is the proper remedy, the vote is 9-5 in favor. Those who voted in favor are Justices Velasco, De Castro, Peralta, Bersamin, Hardeleza, Martires, Tiham, Reyes Jr., Hesmundo. Those who voted against: Senior Associate Justice Carpio, Del Castillo, Perlas Bernabe, Leonen, Caguiwa. On the third issue of whether or not the respondent violated the Constitution for failure to file sullens, 9 justices expressed an opinion. The others did not. The 9 justices are the following: the Senior Associate Justice, Justices De Castro, Peralta, Bersamin, Hardeleza, Martires, Tiham, Reyes Jr., Hesmundo. End of statement.
Makibalita muna tayo sa aming correspondent na si Anjo Alemario mula sa Korte Suprema. Anjo, ano na ang latest dyan?
Pinky, nakatipon nga ngayon dito sa may labi ng Supreme Court na ito mga miyembro ng media kasi na nag-aabang baka sakali magbigay na ambush interview itong Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno na pinatalsik na nga ng Korte Suprema. Pero ang informasyon natin ay mayroon siyang ibang dinaanan at haharapin niya nga yung mga taga-suporta niya dyan sa may Padre Faura, sa may tax area kung saan nagbibigay nga siya ng isang talumpati dito yung kanyang damdamin dito sa nga sa naging desisyon para patasikin siya sa pwesto, Pinky.
Alright, so yan ang kailangan nating antabayanan ngayon, ano, Anjo, dahil nga sa kakalabas lang na desisyon, kanina pa po natin nakausap si Anjo, we broke this story because dalawang sources po bago pa lumabas si Attorney Theodore Tea, nagsabi sa ating correspondent na si Anjo Alemario na ganun nga po ang boto na 8-6. Anjo, siguro maganda ding balikan lang natin ng kaunti yung mga kaganapan bago itong botong to dahil lumilipad nga kung ano sari-sari ang mga kuro-kuro hinggil sa magiging pagboto dito. Kanina napag-usapan natin, Anjo, may malabas 10-4, 9-5, tapos 8-6 na nga ang final vote dyan sa Korte Suprema. Were there any other surprises, Anjo?
Oo nga, Pinky, itong mga nakaraang araw, naglabasan na yung mga prediction sa magiging resulta dito sa quo warranto case si Chief Justice Sereno. Yung mga ulat na sinasabing done deal na, foregone conclusion, yung pag-oust kay Chief Justice Sereno. Meron tayong nabasa nga kanina, 11-3 daw. Yung voting ang lumabas ay 8-6, no? Masik na mag-7-7. Kasi Pinky, kung mag-7-7 yung voting, kaya panalo si Chief Justice Sereno. No? Kasi pag ganun, pag nag-tie ang voting, mananalo dito or talo dito yung petitioner at mananalo to si Chief Justice Sereno. Pero naging close vote, no? Halos close vote na natin matuturing na 8-6. 8-8 sa mga maestrado nga yung voto na patalsikin siya sa pwesto.
Yun ang pinag-uusapan din namin kanina dito, Anjo, dahil yun nga yung parang magic number, no, Anjo? 8. Kapag nakuha yung 8, tanggal si Chief Justice. Pero yun nga, nakuha nila. So ito na nga ang nangyari. Again, ang sabi nga ng kampo ni Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno, Anjo, this is a close call and they will file a motion for reconsideration. Patuloy po nating hihintayin ang panayam kay Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno habang pinapakita po namin sa inyong mga screens ang naging pagboto na 8-6. But Anjo, tatlo kasi yung pinag-usapan dito sa dispositive portion na binasa ni Attorney Theodore Te. Hindi ba, Anjo? Siguro mabuti sa iyo na manggaling yung tatlong pinagbotohan nila.
Pinky, ang binasa lang ni Attorney Theodore Te, yung dalawang una dito kung i-grant ba yung co-warrant of petition ni Solicitor General Jose Calida. Meron tayong botong 8-6. Yung mga justices na nabumoto para nga sa pwesto si Sereno ay sina Associate Justice Leonardo de Diosdado Peralta, Lucas Bersamin, Francis Hardilesa, Samuel Martires, Noel Tiham, Andres Reyes Jr. at Alexander Gismondo. Kapansin-pansin, Pinky, no, yung 6 na hiniling ni Chief Justice Sereno na mag-inhibit ay hindi sila nag-inhibit at bagkus ay bumoto pa against her. Now, yung mga nag-dissent naman ay sina Associate Justice Antonio Carpio, Justice Presbyterio Velasco, Mariano del Castillo, Estela Perles Bernabe, Marvic Leon, and at Alfredo Benjamin Cagiwa. Doon yun sa question whether to grant the co-warrant of petition or not. Now, may separate voting tayo kung yung co-warrant ba ay proper remedy para tanggalin si Chief Justice Sereno. 9-5 yung naging voting. Basically, same voting ang lumipat lang for yes for the proper remedy nga ito daw co-warrant ay itong si Justice Velasco. Now, walang voting dito sa whether or not violate ba si Chief Justice Sereno Constitution dahil sa hindi daw niya pag-file ng kanyang SALN. Meron lamang 9 na maestrado na nag-express ng opinion. So, hindi natin alam kung for or against Chief Justice Sereno yung opinion about her supposed failure to file SALN.
Oo. Anjo, ang meron talaga tayo ay parang overview. Sabi nga ng mga abogado, kahit sa IBP, kailangan talaga nilang tingnan pa, himayin ito to dissect the statements made or the decisions made by the Supreme Court Justices. All right, Anjo, maraming salamat sa iyo. Babalikan ka namin maya-maya lamang. Maraming salamat kay Anjo Alimario live mula po dyan sa Korte Suprema. Dumako naman tayo sa magkabilang panig. Unahin na po natin yung mga nagpo-protesta laban kay Chief Justice Sereno. Naroon si AC Nichols. Makibalita tayo sa kanya. AC, kamusta naman ang seguridad dyan?
Well, Pinky, good mood itong mga kritiko ni dating Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. Siyempre, ang pakiramdam nila, sila ang nanalo ngayon, no? Ngayon, relax na sila. Makikita natin na yung mga iba pang naiwan dito, nakaupo na lang sa kalsada, nagkakainan ng mga ice candy, nagse-selfie, nagkukwentuhan. Pero kanina, nung mga 11:30 ng umaga, ng unang pumutok ang balita na granted na nga yung co-warranto, talagang nagtatatalon sila sa tuwa dahil nga natanggal na si Sereno bilang Chief Justice.
AC, pasensya ka na. Babalikan ka namin maya-maya lamang. Pasensya na, AC. Meron lang si Chief Justice, nakikita na natin on the screen. Andyan sa isang entablado. Obviously, to address her supporters, hihintayin po natin ang kanyang reaksyon hinggil dito sa pagpapatalsik sa kanya sa pwesto which is executory, no? Kailangan sa naging desisyon ng Korte Suprema ay aalis na siya dapat bilang Chief Justice. Disqualified na siya at inutusan na nga ang Judicial and Bar Council na buksan ng aplikasyon at maghanap na ng mga nominees para sa Chief Justice. So as soon as, ayan na po, pakinggan natin si Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno.
Yung kable. European baba.
Mga minamahal kong kababayan, magandang tanghali po sa inyong lahat.
Hello.
Gusto ko kasi silang silipin. Hindi na mag-adjust.
Oo.
Kumusta po kayo?
Basta nyo naman magulo. Basta magulo ha. Intindihin nyo na lang ha.
Sa aking mga minamahal na kababayan, salamat po at naglamay kayo. Buwan-buwan na po at ngayon mayroon na pa tayong patutunguhan. Kaya maaari ho Tahimik lang sana. Salamat po lahat.
Okay.
Mga kababayan, maraming salamat po sa Panginoong Diyos pagkat lumawak na po ang ating laban. Lumawak po ang ating laban. 8 po ang dapat lamang bumoto sa kaso ng co-warranto dahil lang 6 ay dapat nag-inhibit ayon sa rules ng compulsory inhibition. Kaya kung tutusin, panalo po tayo. Anim po sa natitirang 8 ang nagsabing hindi ako dapat alisin. 2 lamang po ang bumoto na ako ay dapat alisin. Ngunit dahil ayaw mag-inhibit ang dapat mag-inhibit, ganyan na lamang po ang nangyari. Inaalis ako sa pwesto, ngunit ang 6 na boto na ako ay dapat manatili ay patunay na tama ang aking paninindigan, ang inyong paninindigan. Ito po ay una sa ating kasaysayan na inalis ng mayorya ng Korte Suprema ang isa sa kanilang kasamahan. Inangkin nila ang tanging karapatan ng Senado, tahasang nilabag ang sinumpaang tungkulin pag-ingatan ang saligang batas at winasak ang hudikatura. Ayon sa scholar na si Raul Berger, tanging impeachment lamang ang paraan upang patalsikin ang isang maestrado ng Korte Suprema. Pagkat kailangan rin ipagtanggol ang independensya ng mga maestrado sa isa't isa. Kundi kayang tanggalin ng barkadahan ang sinuman sa anumang rason, basta't nasa kanila ang sapat na boto. Ganoon na nga po ang nangyari. Tahasang naging tagahusga ang 6 na maestrado na bahagi ng mga taga-akusa sa akin. Alam ko pong nalulungkot kayo sa pangyayaring ito. Kung kaya ko lang pahiran ang inyong mga luha ay gagawin ko po ngayon. Nais ko po sanang yakapin at pasalamatan ang bawat isa sa inyo. Binigay niyo sa akin ang inyong oras at malasakit, parang nasayang lang. Binigay niyo rin po. Binigay niyo rin po ang inyong puso at paniniwala sa akin. At dahil dito, ay habang buhay akong tumitingala ng pagkakautang ko sa inyo. Tapos puso akong nagpapasalamat sa inyong suporta at paninindigan. Pero sinasabi ko sa inyo, ang mga buwan ng panalangin, paninindigan at paghihirap nating lahat ay mayroong malaking saysay. Ang araw na ito ay hindi tungkol sa akin. Sa katotohanan, hindi ito ang unang pagkakataon na linabag ang ating mga batas at institusyon. Hindi ito ang unang pagkakataon na binaliwala ang ating mga karapatan. Ang araw na ito ay tungkol sa mga may kapangyarihan na nagpasya na hindi sila nasasakop ng batas at kung saan tayong lahat ang biktima. Sa makatuwid, ang araw na ito ay tungkol sa ating lahat, lalo sa mga nakararanas ng panggigipit. Ito ay tungkol sa lahat na naghahanap ng patas na batas na walang pinapanigan at hindi umiindak sa tugtog ng pamumulitika at pamumuwersa. Ito ay tungkol sa bawat isa sa atin na naghahangad ng pamahalang inuuna ang interes ng bayan kaysa sa sariling agenda. Ito ay tungkol sa ating ipinaglabang demokrasya na muling inagaw sa atin. Ito ay tungkol sa kinabukasan ng ating mga kabataan. Kaya't ang araw na ito ay hindi kabiguan, kundi isang tagumpay. Sapagkat ipinakita niyong lahat ang inyong lakas na kayo ay nasa panig ng katotohanan laban sa makapangyarihan. At habang tumitindig tayo para sa matuwid, hindi tayo kailanman magiging talunan. Ang araw na ito ay hindi katapusan, kundi simula lamang. Sa araw na ito, lipunin natin ang ating tapang at iparinig ang ating nagkakaisang tinig. Hindi na tayo maaaring manatiling tahimik. Dahil ang nananahimik ay katumbas ng pagiging kasabwat sa kanilang pang-aabuso. Isantabi muna natin ang ating mga pagkakaiba dahil may mas malaki at malakas na kalabang kailangan nating lahat harapin. Kailangan higit ang pagmamatiyag natin sa panahon ng tagdilim. Buuin natin ang isang kilusang Pilipino na patuloy na ipagtatanggol ang katarungan at maniningil ng pananagutan sa ating mga tinalagang lingkod bayan. Patuloy nating ipagtanggol ang konstitusyon at labanan ang kabuktutan. Patuloy nating ikalat ang mensahe ng demokrasya at katuwiran. Magtiwala kayo. Sama-sama nating titibagin ang mga kasinungalingan at pagmamalabis. Inilagay tayo dito para sa ganitong mga panahon. Ang araw na ito, ang araw ng paglaban. Mabuhay ang lahing Pilipino! Mabuhay!
Ang laban ni CJ ay laban ng bayan! 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 Maraming salamat, CJ Sereno! Mabuhay po kayo!
Laban po tayong lahat. Sama-sama po ba tayo? Walang iwanan. Walang nag-iisa. Sama-sama lagi hanggang kaduluduluhan. Maraming salamat po.
Cellphone mo! Ate! Gusto, mag-ano pa?
Isang oras po mula na i-anunsyo ang formal announcement mula kay Attorney Theodore Te. Natanggal na po siya sa pwesto, ay nagsalita na at hinarap ni Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno ang kanyang mga taga-suporta at nagbigay ng pahayag. Makikita naman po sa kanyang sinabi na in good spirits, kung ating pong maitatawag yan, si Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno sa pagharap sa kanyang mga supporters. In fact, kapag siguro himayin po natin ang kanyang sinabi, para ho sa kanya ay tila nanalo pa sila dahil doon sa 8 daw na nagsabing dapat siyang alisin ay 6 doon sa 8 ay hiningi naman niya ang kanyang inhibition. Yan po ang naging boto. 6 po ang hinihingi niya sanang hindi sumali dito sa co-warrant of petition. Pero so ang kanyang math ay dyan sa 8, 6 dapat ang nag-inhibit. So kanyang sinabi sa kanyang mga supporters, halos 2 lang talaga, ang nagsabing dapat siyang matanggal sa pwesto compared doon sa 6 who voted to dismiss this co-warranto petition. For the most part, nakangiti naman po si Maria Lourdes Sereno at tinawag po niya itong araw para sa lahat daw ng nagigipit. Ito daw po ay isang laban ng demokrasya na inagaw sa kanila. Hindi daw ito katapusan, kundi simula lamang. At sinabi po niya towards the end, buuin daw ang isang kilusang Pilipino para sa katarungan at tinawag niya po itong isang araw ng paglaban. At syempre, ang kanyang pasasalamat, inihayag niya sa kanyang mga supporters dahil nga nung paglabas pa lang niya, sinabi na niya, maraming salamat at naglamay daw ho sila dyan sa Korte Suprema at hindi siya iniwan. Patuloy po tayong kukuha ng update at tinututukan po natin ang mga kaganapan sa loob at labas ng Korte Suprema. Magbabalik ang balitaan matapos ang ilang paalala. Nagbabalik ang balitaan dito sa CNN Philippines. Basahin po muna natin ang ilan sa mga reaksyon ng mga senador hinggil sa naging desisyon ng Korte Suprema na patalsikin na nga si dating Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. Mula po, isang press release ito mula kay Senador Bam Aquino. Ito po ay, ang sabi po niya, talo na naman ang taong bayan. Ano pa ang laban ng karaniwang Pilipino kung ang Chief Justice ay kayang tanggalin ng basta-basta at hindi batay sa tamang proseso. Patuloy akong naninindigan na ang tamang proseso sa pagtanggal ng isang impeachable official ay sa pamamagitan ng impeachment court sa Senado. Binaliwala ng ang prosesong nakasaad sa saligang batas. Natanggalan ng publiko ng karapatang malaman ang totoo at suriin ang kaso. Tila ang may kapangyarihan na lang ang magdidikta ng hustisya. Talo na naman ang mga Pilipinong walang kalaban-laban. Ito naman po mula kay Senador Sani Angara, if the decision is indeed 8-6 as reported, it shows a divided court on a very important constitutional issue. This means the ruling may not be a stable one and may be subject to revision going forward. I do not agree with the decision because impeachment is the only constitutional route for a removal of a CJ, but acknowledge that the court has spoken. The ripple effect of the decision may be felt in the coming months and years. I pray that wisdom and sobriety prevail in the future for the good of the country and our people. Isa na lang po, babasahin ko lang si Senator Soto. The Supreme Court is the highest interpreter of the Constitution and the laws. We respect its decision. To do otherwise is to make our personal opinion higher than what we regard as supreme. Dumako po tayo sa ating mga correspondents dahil mula po kagabi ay nag-vigil na nga yung mga taga-supporters ni Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. Nagsagawa din sila ng tinatawag na Jericho March. Makibalita tayo sa aming correspondent na si Rex Remitio. Rex, kamusta na ang sitwasyon dyan?
Isang matamdamin at makasaysayang araw nga, hindi lamang para sa mga taga-suporta ni dating Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno, kundi para na rin sa buong bansa. Kumarat nga dito si Sereno na talagang buong siya ng mga tao at mga kawalingan sa dito ay nahirapan siyang bulan siyang palabas umarap doon sa kanyang mga taga-suporta. Maraming salita pinigit ukol sa pakikipaglaban, hindi ito natatapos ang kanilang laban at kailangan daw, ito pa lang ang simula at kailangan daw na talagang palabasin ang katotohanan sa bawat institusyon ng ating bansa. At pinandi na nga rin yung 8 justices na bumoto laban sa kanya doon sa kanyang case. Ang sinasabi niya ay patuloy namang kinakain nga ng diktatorya yung ating mga institusyon. Kung kaya't hindi na daw dapat na magdidihan pa kung maaari daw inaalihan niya na lumabas niya yung mga pamilya at i-express yung kanilang dissent kung talaga nga bang sila'y may dissent sa mga ginagawa nga raw ng pamahalaan. Pagkatapos ng kanyang masamsaming sinubukan natin sa tanong kung ano ba yung next legal recourse niya o ano yung gagawin niya. Ito nagtipid-balikat lamang dito si Chief Justice at tuloy na pumasok sa compound ng Supreme Court at hindi na nagbigay ng pakyat. So yun ang latest dito.
Maraming salamat sa iyo, Rex Remigio, nag-uulat mula sa, nandun ho siya sa bandang Padre Faura at Taft Avenue sa Maynila. Samantala, ilan pa pong mga reaksyon mula sa ilang mga senador. Basahin po natin ang reaksyon ni Senador Ping Lacson. Ipapasok ko lamang ito. That has mooted the impeachment proceeding. I don't think the House will still transmit the articles of impeachment to the Senate after the SC has granted the quo warranto, having said that there is no impeachment trial to speak of in the first place. All right, sa kabilang panig naman po tayo, dumako tayo. Nandun din po ang aming correspondent na si AC Nichols. AC, kamusta naman dyan?
Pinky, ayun nga, good mood itong mga kritiko ni dating Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. Sa ngayon, relax na sila. No? Dito naman sila nakapwesto sa kabilang side. Kung yung mga supporters nasa may malapit sa Taft Avenue, nandito sila sa may bandang Department of Justice. Sa ngayon, relax na sila. Ang iba nakaupo sa kalsada, kumakain na ng ice candy, nagpapahinga, nagsiselfie. Pero kanina, nung unang lumabas yung ruling ng Korte Suprema, ay nagtatatalon talaga sila sa tuwa. Dahil nga pakiramdam nila ay nanalo sila. Yung nanguna dito sa anti-Sereno rally ay ang Citizens Crime Watch at VACC, mga masugid na taga-suporta ni Pangulong Duterte. In fact, nag-chant nga rin sila ng Duterte matapos ding i-announce ng Korte Suprema yung ruling nila sa quo warranto petition. Ngayon nakausap natin yung isa sa mga leader nitong mga kritiko ni Sereno na si Attorney Ferdy Topacio. Sabi nga niya, masayang-masaya daw sila dahil naniniwala sila na nanaig dito yung tama dahil nga paniwala nila illegal ang naging appointment ni Sereno bilang Chief Justice. Pero kinlarify niya na this is nothing personal naman daw laban kay Sereno. Wala naman daw ginawang masama si Sereno sa kanila personally. Basta ang gusto lang kasi nila masunod ang tama at kung ano ang naaayon sa Constitution o sa batas. Pero sana daw pagkatapos nitong ruling na to ay move on na, tapos na at wala nang awayan sa judiciary at sana raw ay walang hard feelings. Umalis na rin si Attorney Topacio. Actually, halos wala na rin natira dito sa mga anti-Sereno protesters. Iilan na lang talaga, mukhang nagpapahinga na lang bago mag-alisan. Ayon din sa information galing sa Manila Police District, unti-unti na rin talagang numinipis yung crowd dito, no? Pareho sa from the anti-Sereno and pro-Sereno rallies. Pero yung mga police naka-standby pa, andito pa rin sila, wala pa raw advice na magsialisan na sila dito. So yan ang latest, Pinky.
Okay, so medyo tahimik na dyan kung nasaan ka, AC. Maraming salamat kay AC Nichols, nag-uulat din mula po dyan sa Korte Suprema. Isa pa pong statement mula sa Senador, si Senador Sonny Trillanes. It is now the darkest hour in our democracy. The Supreme Court, which is supposed to be the cradle of our fragile Constitution, is the same body that killed it. Those SC justices who committed this heinous crime against our justice system must not and will not go unpunished. Samantala, kanina po nakapanayam natin ang isa sa mga tagapagsalita ni dating Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. Narito po ang naging pahayag ni Attorney Josa de Inla sa pagpabor ng Korte Suprema sa quo warranto petition. Anya, iaapela nila ang desisyon ng Korte.
Yes, she is very likely to file this motion for reconsideration. We'll know later if this will be her next step for sure. So let's watch out for her announcements. Okay. But like I said, she is seriously considering this recourse because we know that the Supreme Court has in a couple of, in a number actually, of high-profile political cases, has flip-flopped or changed its mind. Ruling will only attain finality after the motion for reconsideration has already been decided upon by the High Court. So we shall await that decision, the decision on the MR, before we can finally say that the Chief Justice has been ousted or is already ousted from her position.
Pero pag nakasulat po yung final, just for the sake of argument, ma'am, final and executory, what is the position of the Chief Justice there?
Alam mo kung babasahin natin yan, ano lang to it's only in consonance with the mga narinig natin reports that her colleagues really want her out and fast, quickly. So nilagay siguro yan para agad-agad siyang maalis sa pwesto. That's how we are reading it. But of course, we shall await the copy, the full text of the decision before we comment any further.
Kayo nanonood ng balitaan sa CNN Philippines, nagdesisyon na ang mga maestrado ng Korte Suprema. Pinatalsik na si Maria Lourdes Sereno bilang Chief Justice. Narito po ang buong pahayag ng tagapagsalita ng Korte Suprema na si Attorney Theodore Teca kaugnay sa desisyon sa quo warranto petition.
Republic of the Philippines, represented by the Solicitor General versus Maria Lourdes P.A. Sereno. The dispositive portion of the decision reads, quote, wherefore, the petition for quo warranto is granted. Respondent Maria Lourdes P.A. Sereno is found disqualified from and is hereby adjudged guilty of unlawfully holding and exercising the office of the Chief Justice. Accordingly, Respondent Maria Lourdes P.A. Sereno is ousted and excluded therefrom. The position of the Chief Justice is declared vacant, and the Judicial and Bar Council is directed to commence the application and nomination process. This decision is immediately executory without need of further action from the Court. Respondent Maria Lourdes P.A. Sereno is ordered to show cause within 10 days from receipt hereof why she should not be sanctioned for violating the Code of Professional Responsibility and the Code of Judicial Conduct, for transgressing the sub judice rule, and for casting aspersions and ill motives to the members of the Supreme Court. So ordered. Close quote. The decision was written by Associate Justice Noel G. Ziham. The members of the court voted on the following issues in the manner indicated. On the issue of whether or not to grant the petition for quo warranto, the vote is 8-6 in favor. Those who voted in favor are the following: Justices De Castro, Peralta, Bersamin, Hardeleza, Martires, Tiham, Reyes Jr., Hesmundo. Those who voted against: Senior Associate Justice Carpio, Justices Velasco, Del Castillo, Perlas Bernabe, Leonen, Caguiwa. On the issue of whether or not quo warranto is the proper remedy, the vote is 9-5 in favor. Those who voted in favor are Justices Velasco, De Castro, Peralta, Bersamin, Hardeleza, Martires, Tiham, Reyes Jr., Hesmundo. Those who voted against: Senior Associate Justice Carpio, Del Castillo, Perlas Bernabe, Leonen, Caguiwa. On the third issue of whether or not the respondent violated the Constitution for failure to file sullens, 9 justices expressed an opinion. The others did not. The 9 justices are the following: the Senior Associate Justice, Justices De Castro, Peralta, Bersamin, Hardeleza, Martirez, Tiham, Reyes Jr., Hezmundo. End of statement.
At humingi po tayo ng reaksyon sa Kongreso. Nasa linya ngayon si Congressman Ray Umali. Sir, magandang tanghali po sa inyo.
Ay, magandang tanghali, Pinky. Magandang tanghali sa lahat ng ating mga tagapanood.
Magandang tanghali dahil dun sa decision. Sir, your reaction on the decision of the Supreme Court, sir?
Yeah, I feel so relieved that yung aming House of Representatives in the conduct of impeachment hearing. In that we were able to uncover the violations, particularly of the unfiling of the SALN, and I understand the decision of the Supreme Court also dealt on this. There are 9 justices resolved to fault her for non-filing, for violating the Constitution. So this is welcome news to me, and I feel so relieved that we did not probably go through the tedious and protracted trial in Senate.
Malinaw naman po, no, just for the benefit of the viewers, na tapos na po yung impeachment, wala na po yan. Parang moot na po yung impeachment na yan.
That is correct, especially in the light of the decision that is immediately executed on.
Sir, was this vote, the kind of vote that happened, was that a surprise for you? Meron ho bang kagulat-gulat o hindi pangkaraniwan doon sa pagboto?
Well, nagulat ako in the sense that, siguro deep in yung mga bumoto not to, what do you call it, or yung those who voted in favor of Chief Justice Sereno had a change of heart na alam ko deep in their heart hirap din sa bottom line, except that of course there are certain legalities and constitutionalities in the matter that is before them. So siguro that made them change their minds. Pero deep within, alam ko na ayaw na rin nila na magpatuloy pa si Chief Justice Sereno dahil magulo ang Korte Suprema kapag siya ay nakabalik doon.
Sir, would you consider it a close call?
Yes, I think it is a close call, but I guess yung mga decision na ito ay yun na rin ang kalalabasin nito at the end of the day.
Pero I guess, Congressman, what I want to find out is if it's a close call, ang ibig ho ba sabihin nito ay talagang, well, I know it's 8-6, pero halos hati ho ba para sa inyo ang naging desisyon ng mga mahistrado ng Korte Suprema?
Oh, malinaw yan dun sa decision na yun na 8-6, no, na it could have been 8-7 kung nakaboto si Chief Justice. So it's really a hairline that separates the pros versus the cons.
But what does this say about the decision, sir?
Well, it is a novel issue. This case is unprecedented, and it is not easy, especially if you are removing your peer, no, or your colleague in the Supreme Court. Na mabigat talaga. And ako, ang tingin ko dyan, siyempre, kahit kung sa atin nangyari yan, nakasama natin yan for 5 or 6 years or even 8 years, medyo talagang mahirap din po yun. Kanya lang, nangibabaw sa kanila yung mga epekto ng magiging desisyon nila, kanya't para lang maayos ang judiciary muli, ang Supreme Court muli, I think they had to make hard decisions.
Sa palagay niyo ho ba, well again, no, sir, to some it may be a surprise na 8-6 dahil meron kung ano-ano lumalabas na balita on the voting. However, I just wanted to get your reaction. Nung nagsalita ho kasi si dating Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno in front of her supporters, sabi niya, Sa kanya how yung tansya niya or how she analyzes the situation, Congressman, is that halos nanalo din siya dahil doon sa 8 na sinabing kailangan siya umalis, ay 6 doon sa 8 ay pinag-i-inhibit naman niya talaga sa kaso. So parang ang lumalabas 2 lang talaga ang nagsabing dapat siya umalis, and 6 said she should not be ousted.
Well, that is her viewpoint, and we respect that. But nonetheless, there was a decision, and the 6 voted, and she lost.
A motion for reconsideration in the event it's filed, sir. Palagay niyo ho ba may mababago pa dito?
Sa tingin ko, wala na. Yan na rin yan. At the onset, if you will read the news in the past, parang fixated na yung 8 were quite firm on their decision, and I think that will be it also.
Maraming salamat po sa inyo. Congressman Ray Umali, thank you, sir. At narito naman ang pahayag ng Malacanang sa desisyon ng Korte Suprema sa kaso ni dating Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno mula sa aking panayam kay Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Sal Panelo.
I'm not surprised simply because the constitutional provision on impeachment is very clear. If you notice, impeachable officers can, the provision uses the permissive phrase, may be removed, which means that impeachment is not just an exclusive method of removing impeachable officers. Because there will be a situation like this one where an impeachable officer is holding office, but the ground for removing that impeachable officer is not one of those grounds enumerated under the Constitution, like failure to file an SALN, which is a constitutional requirement. So if that particular person is not qualified and hence illegally holding in office, then you cannot remove that person by way of impeachment. You have to file a co-warrant of proceedings. Well, it is supposed to be an executory ruling, so she will have to vacate the office. However, she is also entitled to file a motion for reconsideration. And given the fact that it's an 8-6 vote, so she can still, I think she has still a chance. She may be able to convince one of them to vote in her favor.
Naniniwala si Solicitor General Jose Calida na ang desisyon ng Korte Suprema laban kay dating Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno ay pagpapakita ng integridad ng institusyon. Pinasalamatan ni Calida ang mga mahistrado na anyay nananatiling tapat sa pagsunod sa batas sa gitna ng mga nagpapanggap umanong tagapagtanggol ng konstitusyon. Nanawagan siya sa mga Pilipino na ipagpatuloy ang paglaban sa mga nais sumira sa katatagan, hindi lamang ng hudikatura, kundi ng pamahalaan sa kabuuan. At yan ang kabuuan ng balitaan. Ngayong Biyernes, May 11, 2018, ako po si Pinky Webb. Happy weekend! Hanggang sa Lunes, magandang tanghali.
Impeachable officer, tulad ng punong mahistrado. Lubos po tayong nababahala sa desisyong ito. Sa hindi pagbasura ng co-warrant of petition, maraming tanong ang kailangang harapin. Ngayong nakompromiso na ang pinakapundasyon ng ating hudikatura, kanino natatakbo ang mga Pilipino para sa patas na laban at kahit kapiraso man lang nakatarungan? Saan na tayo dudulog kung ang pinaka-integridad ng institusyon na ating sinasandigan ay siya nang nadungisan? Sa araw na ito, dinala tayo sa isang hangganang walang tiyak na kahihinatnan. Sa mga panahong tulad nito, paghubgutan po natin ang lakas at tapang ang isa't isa. Sa kabila ng lahat, nananatili ang isang katotohanang hindi matitinag. Ang ating huling pag-asa ay ang bawat isa. Ang tunay na kapangyarihan ay nasa taong bayan. Hinihikayat natin ang sambayanang Pilipino na patuloy na bantayan ang mga susunod na pangyayari at pag-isahin natin ang ating boses para ipagtanggol ang institusyon ng ating hudikatura, ang saligang batas at higit sa lahat ang ating demokrasya. Bilang pangalawang Pangulo, tinitiyak ko sa inyo, hindi pa tapos ang laban, lalo na't naging malapit ang botohan sa isang mabigat na desisyon tulad nito. Sama-sama nating isulong ang lahat na nararapat na hakbang para itama ang pagkakamaling ito. Ito ang tanging paraan para manumbalik ang tiwala ng taong bayan. Tuloy ang laban. Kasi uulan na, mauulan.
President Leni Robredo there speaking before reporters. She said the foundation of our judiciary has been compromised, and she asks, where can Filipinos seek justice when the Supreme Court has been compromised? She said as Vice President, she will make sure the fight is not yet over. The Vice President, of course, is reacting to the unprecedented and historic decision of the Supreme Court to oust Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. Let's go back to the source.
This is breaking news on CNN Philippines. I'm Pia Ontiveros. A historic first, the Supreme Court ousts its own Chief Justice. But is this the last we'll see of Maria Lourdes Sereno? Supreme Court justices voted 8-6 in favor of a quo warranto petition that questioned the validity of Maria Lourdes Sereno's appointment as Chief Justice. Only 8 votes were needed to remove the Chief Justice. Sereno is now the second top magistrate in Philippine history to be unseated next to her predecessor, the late Chief Justice Renato Corona. Sereno is also the first impeachable official removed from office without a Senate trial. CNN Philippines is at the heart of the story. We're covering the developments, reactions from all of our platforms. Let's first go back to how the justices voted in this landmark ruling. Our justice correspondent, Anjo Alimayo, joins us live from Manila to break it down for us. Anjo?
That's right, Pia. It's a historic ruling. An impeachable official removed from post without a Senate trial. Majority of the Supreme Court justice voted to oust Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno from her post. Now, 8 associate justices voted to grant the quo warranto petition filed by Solicitor General Jose Calida. They are Teresita Leonardo de Castro, Diosdado Peralta, Lucas Bersamin, Francis Pardelesa, Samuel Martirez, Noel Tinham, Andres Reyes, and Alexander Gismundo. Now, 6 others opposed the petition. Antonio Carpio, Presbitero Velasco, Mariano del Castillo, Estela Perlas Bernabe, Marvic Leonen, and Alfredo Benjamin Caguiwa. Now, Pia, let me read to you the dispositive part of the Supreme Court's ruling. And I read, quote, wherefore the petition for quo warranto is granted, Sereno is found disqualified from and is hereby adjudged guilty of unlawfully holding and exercising the office of the Chief Justice. Accordingly, Respondent Sereno is ousted and excluded therefrom. Now, Pia, 9 justices also voted that Sereno violated the Constitution for her failure to submit her salens. The ruling also declares the Chief Justice post vacant and directs the Judicial and Bar Council to begin the application and nomination process. The decision is immediately executory, but it doesn't end there. The court also gives an order to its former chief. Again, reading from the dispositive part of the decision, Sereno is ordered to show cause within 10 days from receipt hereof, why she should not be sanctioned for violating the Code of Professional Responsibility and the Code of Judicial Conduct, for violating the sub judice rule, and for casting aspersions and ill motives to the members of the Supreme Court. Now, Solicitor General Jose Calida accused Sereno of failing to show she's a person of proven integrity because she failed to file her statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth at some point. But Sereno argued she religiously filed her silence. It's just that she can't find some of them. She would have wanted to have her day in the Senate impeachment court to tell her story to the Filipino people, but still up to the House of Representatives if it would still pursue that impeachment complaint, Pia.
Anjo, can you describe to us what the en banc session was like earlier today? Hindi ba parang 30 to 45 minutes lang ata ang deliberation? Correct me if I'm wrong, no? When I'm giving that time period. What was it like? What was the atmosphere like? What were emotions like? Was it a highly strung event? Were people raising their voices? What was the voting like? What happened inside, behind the closed doors?
You know what, Pia, our sources tells us before Chief Justice walked inside the en banc session room, the mood was tense. And then actually the co-warranto case was not on the top of the agenda of the special en banc session, but because Sereno, of course, joined them for the special en banc session, one justice has decided to tackle first the co-warranto case. So Acting Chief Justice Antonio Carpio asked Sereno to step out of the room. We were told that she talked to some of the justices, greeted them briefly before she went out of the en banc session. Then the justices proceeded to the voting proper on the co-warranto case against Chief Justice Sereno. It didn't last long, Pia. It actually just took them a few minutes, good 30 minutes, because they are already decided as to the case. There are no long deliberations were needed, and they just, in the end, they just voted whether to grant the petition of Solicitor General Jose Calida, Pia.
Very tense atmosphere, like you said, as expected. And you said the Acting Chief Justice, Tony Carpio, asking her to step out. When he did do that, she obliged, willingly left the room. Ganun ba? Kumbaga, ganun kabilis ang mga pangyayari?
Tama, Pia, we were told that when Acting Chief Justice Carpio told the Chief Justice or Chief Justice Sereno can step out of the room, former Chief Justice Sereno stepped out without a word. She obliged willingly to what Acting Chief Justice Carpio said. Then the justices went to discuss the co-warranto case of Solicitor General, Pia.
Anjo, anong plano ngayon ni, former Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno? Is she, I guess she will not be going to work anymore on Monday, but is she going to be moving her things out? When is that going to happen? What's next?
Well, Pia, I think she has no choice because the ruling is immediately executory. So even if she has a pending motion for consideration, she has to vacate her office because the Supreme Court also expressly stated that the nomination, the application process should start. That's the job of the Judicial and Bar Council. So pending her appeal, she has no choice but to leave her chamber at the Supreme Court, at her office of the Chief Justice, Pia.
Yeah. Anjo, it is around 6:06, 6:07 or 6:08 right now. And that means there's a little bit of a delay in the scheduled press conference that is supposed to begin at 6 o'clock this evening. Can you tell us why there's that delay and what's going on there?
That's right, Pia. Actually, Chief Justice Sereno arrived here around 5:30, but as of now, she's still meeting her supporters, including the Coalition for Justice. We also saw some members of the silent majority group. So as of now, they're still inside the room. Actually, that's the same area where she will be facing the members of the media. So as of now, she's still talking to them. After that, she will be facing the members of the media for the first time since she's been ousted from her post, Pia.
All right. Well, Anjo, we're going to be airing that press conference in full live here in CNN Philippines. And we're going to be speaking to you again after that press conference. So we'll see you later, Anjo. Thank you for that report. Now, in the meantime, joining us now on the phone, the spokesperson for former Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno, Jojo Lacanilao. Sir, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Hi, good evening, Pia.
Well, what does it sound like to you when we say former Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno?
It hasn't sunk in, so trying to get used to it.
Yeah, that's reality, so we accept that.
Yeah. Are you waiting outside the room where she? I am presuming that you are in that hotel in Manila where she's going to hold the press conference.
Yes,
right?
I am. I'm in the meeting right now with the other friends of the Chief Justice. She's kind of winding it up, so we will start our press conference in a few minutes, and I'll be presiding over it, facilitating it. So
who is facilitating? Who is facilitating it?
It's me. Myself.
Ikaw. Okay, so you stepped away or you're speaking in front of everybody?
Magsisimula na.
Okay, well, can you give us an idea about ano yung napag-usapan dyan sa meeting ni...
Yeah, little talks between friends at pinag-usapan nila. Hindi ko rin masyadong narinig lahat kasi nasa likod ako. But it seems to me happy sila. They're clapping their hands. At Chief Justice is still upbeat. Wala naman siya problema. But she's talking with a lot of allies right now, talking about what to do next. So... I guess if you're here, you'll see that it's kind of a joyous situation for some reason.
Joyous, happy, upbeat, like you said, joyous for some reason, in spite of the fact that she's been removed from her post.
Well, she has always said, no, whatever happens to the co-Waranto case, she thinks she wins. A moral victory, not legal necessarily, because she has stood up for the truth and justice.
Yeah.
So I think the allies are also having that kind of attitude right now. So the fight is not finished. It's just starting. And this is, consolidated everyone right now.
Okay.
So that's why I think it's a bit joyous.
Magpa-file siyempre ng motion for recon.
Yes.
And the argument will be, again, which was the argument from the very beginning, is that she can only be removed by impeachment, correct?
Well, I don't know yet because the situation here is we don't have yet the official decision of the Supreme Court. So it's hard for the Chief Justice and ourselves to actually comment on it. Until we see it, then we will not be able to say anything specific about, the arguments for the MR. But I know that for sure we will file a motion for reconsideration.
Earlier, I was speaking to our justice correspondent, Anjo Alimario. I asked him to describe the atmosphere during the en banc session. I wanted to ask you if, of course, you weren't in there unless you are going to be appointed to the Supreme Court. But did former CJ Sereno describe it to you? Nagkwento po ba siya after the en banc? What happened inside? What was it like? What the atmosphere was like?
Wala pang chance for us to actually sit down as a team, and not just me, and actually debrief her on what happened. So siguro mas may raming alam si Anjo with other sources within the MBAT. But for us, our team, we haven't done that kind of debriefing yet.
Earlier today, and we're showing video footage earlier today of Sereno facing her supporters and the media, just after the decision came out. To her left is that is her husband, right?
Yes, behind her on the left is Jong, Mr. Sereno, yes.
Mr. Sereno. He's never really been in the public eye. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is the first time I saw him, no?
Oh, is that right? Okay.
He wanted to be by her side, no?
He's behind, he's behind the scenes, under the radar kind of thing. He's a businessman, so he didn't think that, the Chief Justice as a public persona.
Yes.
So,
But today was an exception. He escorted her all the way from inside her chambers to the outside, no? Where
and if you noticed on Wednesday when she returned to the duties on Wednesday, he was also there when she waved to the crowd when she came down from her office. So, just to support her wife and all this through these trying times.
Yeah. Is Mrs. Sereno going to start packing up in her office, in her chambers?
I could imagine, maybe not herself, because she's not anymore, I think, allowed to go inside.
I'm sorry?
The Supreme Court.
She's not allowed to go inside anymore?
As far as we know, that's sort of part of the whole discussions. But on the details, on the logistics, I'm not really sure what will happen. For sure, there will be some packing involved because there's a lot of things that they have to move out from the office.
She's not allowed inside anymore.
That's what I heard, but I'm not sure that I can actually confirm that. But I think she's not going back to the office as far as I can tell right now. But I'll clarify it with her.
Did she, apart from what you saw in her meeting with her supporters just a while ago, how else is she taking this? No, ano ba yung, when she's alone, surrounded by just her inner circle?
I'm looking at her right now. Nagsa-selfie sila, nag-uusap sila. May mga good discussions on very serious discussions because these are very serious people that are supporting her. We have about, I think, 50 people inside this room.
50 people.
Some of them are very prominent
so
people.
I suppose, very prominent people like?
Sorry?
Very prominent people like?
I see Attorney Sagisag, Bishop Fabilio, and I don't know if I have to say the others. Those people were also in Padre Para this early today, so
okay.
they just came here.
Okay, and you're standing just a few feet away from her?
Sorry?
You're standing just a few feet away from her?
A few people?
From the former Chief Justice. You're standing just a few feet away from her?
Yes, I'm actually very, very near her.
Very near
her? No, sorry.
Oh, can you give her the phone?
She's kind of busy right now.
Yeah?
And she's going to the front now because we're going to start the press conference in a few seconds, I suppose.
Okay.
And she's kind of surrounded with her supporters right now.
Yeah, well, we're going to bring up that live video in just a bit.
Yes, I saw Anja outside, yes.
Yeah, like you said, Attorney Jojo Lacanilao, the former Chief Justice Lourdes Sereno, in a few moments going to be making her way to the press conference that she's supposed to be holding. There's a bit of a delay, like we said, about 15 minutes. The original schedule was 6 o'clock. Like you said, she's just meeting with her supporters in that room, in that hotel.
It's actually done. Yeah, it's done. It's winding down. And she's preparing to go to the table for the press conference.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you very much, sir, for being with us tonight. We'll be bringing that press conference of the former Chief Justice in full live here on CNN Philippines. In the meantime, first, Solicitor General Jose Calida, who filed the quo warranto petition, believes the Supreme Court's decision shows the integrity of the institution. In a statement, Calida thanked the magistrates, who he says stayed true to their oath and followed the rule of law. He also calls on the Filipino people to, quote, continue the fight against those intending to undermine the stability and integrity not only of the judiciary, but also of the government, unquote. Senators expressed their disappointment with the Supreme Court's verdict. Senator Kiko Pangilinan posted strong words on Twitter saying the justices who voted in favor of the petition disrespected the 1987 Constitution. Pangilinan stresses that it's the Senate, not the court, which has the power to oust the Chief Justice. He also says the justices are afraid they would not get enough votes in the Senate to remove Sereno. Senator Ping Lacson, on the other hand, says the biggest winners in this case are the lawyers who would have exposed what he says is their stupidity at the impeachment trial. It was unclear if Lacson is referring to lawmakers, private prosecutors, or private defense lawyers. And Supreme Court spokesman Theodore Te made noise online through his verified personal Twitter account. Te kept it short and sweet, but it was enough to grab people's attention as he posted a picture with the words, I dissent. We have more reactions to this top story from other lawmakers. Senate President Coco Pimentel saying the Supreme Court is supreme in many things, but not in everything. Pimentel says, quote, the Senate is the one and only impeachment court. He explains the Chief Justice can be removed only after impeachment by the House and conviction by the Senate. Akbayan Representative Tom Villarin says the House Justice Committee should still submit to the plenary its report on finding probable cause for Sereno's impeachment when sessions resume next week. Villarin says the decision is not yet final, so the House can proceed independently from the Supreme Court. But House Majority Leader Rudy Fariña says the House will not proceed with the impeachment complaint against Sereno until the Supreme Court releases its final decision on the quo warranto petition. Fariña says out of respect to a co-equal department, the House should wait for the resolution of the motion for reconsideration. Fariñas, however, notes the sole purpose of impeachment proceedings is the removal of an officer from office. And if such officer is no longer holding that office, he says the impeachment proceeding obviously becomes moot and academic. Well, let's go back to our justice correspondent, Anjo Limario, still there in that hotel in Manila waiting for the press conference to begin. Anjo, I was speaking to Jojo Lacanilao, spokesperson of the former CJ, Chief Justice. He said she's on her way there right now.
That's right, yeah. We're now being allowed inside the briefing room where they held a meeting earlier. We're now inside here. So the
briefing of Chief Justice Sereno will start in a few minutes.
All right. Like we were saying earlier, I was asking you what was the mood like, and your description was that it was very tense. I'm sorry, the mood during the en banc session this morning, very tense before former Chief Justice Lourdes Sereno walked in. You said also that Acting Chief Justice Tony Carpio was asked to, or asked her to leave the room, and she did. She obliged, right? Well, what's going on? We can hear some voices, Anjo.
The picture here so far right now,
okay, so they're just setting up. All right. We're waiting for our live pictures from there so that we can bring that press conference in full and live here on CNN Philippines. In the meantime, just a little bit of a recap of what went on today, what happened today, a very historic day in the Philippine justice system. The Chief Justice Lourdes Sereno has been ousted by her colleagues after a vote of 8-6. Those 6 justices who voted against the quo warranto petition, Tony Carpio or Antonio Carpio, he is the senior associate justice, also the acting Chief Justice, while Maria Lourdes Sereno was on leave. Francis Hardeleza, Presbitero Velasco, Estela Bernabe, Marvic Leonen, and Alfredo Cagiwa. It was that vote that resulted in the ouster of Chief Justice Lourdes Sereno. Quite a bit of people arguing that the only way to remove a Chief Justice, like earlier we were quoting Senate President Coco Pimentel, is for the Senate after an impeachment trial to convict her. Of course, that impeachment trial happens after the House forwards the articles of impeachment to the Senate, so that the Senate, sitting as an impeachment court, can hold an impeachment trial, and if they do decide so that they can oust her. This, of course, happened to Renato Corona back in 2012. He was impeached by the lower house, or the House of Representatives. Articles of impeachment forwarded to the Senate. It was an impeachment trial that started early weeks of January 2012. It had wrapped up after a few months. By then, a majority of the senators had decided that he was guilty. It was an issue, again, of the statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth. We have live pictures right now. That is the room in that hotel in Manila where the former Chief Justice Lourdes Sereno is expected to hold her press conference. It's been a long day. The Supreme Court, her colleagues, voting to oust her after giving due course to this quo warranto petition. It was a petition that was filed by Solicitor General Jose Calida, arguing that there was a bit of dishonesty when it comes to the filing of her statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth. Of course, the argument of those who have been defending the former Chief Justice was that the only way to remove her is via impeachment. Impeachment first by the House and conviction by the Senate, sitting as an impeachment court. Of course, they've been arguing against this. As a matter of fact, the Chief Justice herself facing her colleagues in an en banc session in oral deliberation, in oral arguments about this matter. We're waiting for that press conference to begin of Chief Justice Lourdes Sereno. It was historic. First, Chief Justice ousted by his or her own colleagues in a quo warranto by giving way to a quo warranto petition. Let's listen in. That press conference is about to begin in a hotel in Manila. The former Chief Justice Lourdes Sereno.
Chief Justice Sereno will read a statement to you, say something, and then we will go to Q&A later on, and I will moderate the Q&A. Is that okay?
Okay na? Ito ang hawangan ko? Okay. Okay na. Magandang gabi po sa aking mga kababayan. Alam niyo po, ang araw na ito ay makasaysayan pagkat nakita po natin na ang pakikipaglaban ng isang tao para sa patas na katarungan ay mukhang nabigo. Panandalian lamang po ito. Pagkat sa araw po nito, Hinihimo ko ang lahat ng ating mga kababayan na naniniwala sa demokrasya, kalayaan, karapatan ng tao, due process, at pantay na pag-apply ng batas na sumama upang lipunin natin ang ating tapang at iparinig ang ating nagkakaisang tinig. Hindi na po tayo maaring manahimik ngayon sapagkat ang pananahimik ay katumbas ng pagiging kasabwat sa kanilang pang-aabuso. Isantabi muna natin ang ating mga pagkakaiba dahil may mas malaki at malakas na kalabang kailangan po nating lahat harapin. Kailangan po nating higit na pagbatyagan ang panahon ngayon dahil sa kadiliman. Buuin natin ang isang kilusang Pilipino na patuloy na ipagtatanggol ang katarungan at maniningil ng pananagutan sa ating mga pinalagang lingkod-bayan. Patuloy po nating ipagtanggol ang konstitusyon at labanan ang kabuktutan. Patuloy nating ikalat ang mensahe ng demokrasya at katuwiran. Buuin po natin ang isang malayang lipunan, isang lipunan inaangat ang batas, inaangat ang katarungan ng bawat Pilipino. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Salamat po, Chief Justice. Salamat. Okay, we now go to Q&A. I'll moderate it. I'll ask you to please state your name, your organization, and ask a question, and then you can ask a follow-up question. Pero konting ground rules now. Can we avoid asking about the decision because we haven't actually gotten the decision of the Supreme Court now. If we can just avoid that in a bit. Kasi wala pa eh. Hindi pa natin alam yung talagang decision. Is that okay? So let's start with Angel. Senate Philippines, if you like any question. You can use my mic and then just give it back to me.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
I just want to go back to,
Good evening, Angel.
to that moment when you entered the ANBAC session room. What was the mood like and how did you feel seeing your colleagues being away from the Supreme Court for more than 2 months?
I welcome that opportunity actually. Kasi pag iniisip mo ang konstitusyon, no, ang iyong katungkulan, the reason why I returned to the Supreme Court is because I really had a constitutional duty to perform. The message I wanted to emphasize to everybody was, no matter how difficult, you perform your constitutional duty. In other words, halimbawa po ang mga legislators, kahit po mahirap politically, even if it is very difficult for their political future, you stand your ground and you try your best to serve as an independent branch of government by saying, ito po ang dapat na policies. In the same way, every judge must also not ever shirk her constitutional duties. Pag kailangan pumasok ng trabaho at gampanan, ang nangyayari po naman talaga tapos na po ang aking pagprepara para sa aking impeachment trial. So, I had to do what I had to do.
Just a follow-up. Take us to that moment when you found out that 8 of your colleagues voted against you. What was your immediate reaction?
Yung aking damdamin no? Nasa kamay ako ng Panginoon. Ang buhay ko naman na hindi ko kailanman hinawakan. At itong posisyon na ito, hindi naman talaga sa akin It is a sacred trust from the Lord. And it is with that perspective that we really own nothing in this life. That everything really is an accountability to God. That I have held this. That's why lahat ng actions ko, laging tinitingnan ko, kahit walang taong nasa tabi ko, ang Diyos nanonood. So when I heard that it was his decision, that was the decision, of course, someone who has known God to be a very good and loving Father will say, this is your will, Lord. And this is out of love that I must accept this and move on to the next phase. Of course, without prejudice, and it must always be fighting for what is right. Always, no? Kasama yan, yung acceptance mo of the loving will of God and always fighting for what is right. So, I said that this is an opportunity that can be used to good still. In fact, pag iniisip mo lang, ano ba naman yung hirap ko kung ikukumpara natin sa mga naghihirap na taong bayan natin. Ako at least may boses, pinapakinggan niyo ako. Pero yung mga naiipit natin mga kababayan, napapakinggan ba sila? baka kailangan isipin natin sila. In contrast to the publicity I'm getting, thousands of our countrymen do not have a voice. And so, it is with that sense of calmness and the understanding that we have a great future that we must redeem as a nation. Kailangan po nating bawiin ang ating bansa sa kadiliman. Kailangan po nating hanapin ang boses ng maliliit. Nasaan po sila? Meron po bang nagre-representante sa kanila? O parang kinalimutan na lamang natin sila? Yun po ang talagang realization ng moment na ito.
Okay, next question from Marlon, Inquirer.
Chief, good evening po.
Good evening, Marlon.
Chief, nung pinay po yung impeachment and eventually yung warrant of petition, meron po, did somebody try to set up a meeting between you and the President to try to pass this on between the two?
May mga ideya na po na ganyan, na ang parang sinasabi nila, ang solusyon sa mga problema mo ay isang pakikipag-usap o pagbabati. Ngunit ang sinabi ko po, halimbawa pong sabihin na natin na nakikipag-usap po ako sa mga malalakas na politiko, ano po ang sasabihin ng taong bayan? Ang sasabihin po nila, ako po ay natatakot sa hirap na haharapin ko. At kung sakali man po ay makalusot ako sa impeachment at madismiss ito, ano pong sasabihin nila? Nakikipag-deal si Chief Justice. Napakahalaga sa akin, Marlon, yung makitingnan ko sa mata ang bawat wes at sabihin, tumayo ka. Kahit sino pang makapangyarihan ng tumawag sa iyo, manindigan ka sa iyong paniniwalang tama. At huwag na huwag ka papatakot. Kung po ako ay nakipag-usap, nag-compromise, nawala na po yung ganong kakayanan ko. Masasabi ko ho ng buong katapatan sa lahat ng huwes na nakakilala sa akin, sa lahat ng kawani ng judikatura, hindi po ako nagkompromiso ng aking independensya, ni minsan po. Kaya, naniniwala po ako na ganun po ang dapat na mensahe na ibigay ng bawat constitutional officer sa bayan, bawat public official. Hindi ako nagkompromiso, nanindigan ako sa tama. Kung ako po ay nag-compromise doon, manghihina na po ako kasi hindi naman po ako makatotohanan pala. Ngunit kailangan po ganun ang ipakita ko sa lahat.
Just to clarify lang po, did somebody approach you actually? Or was it just an idea, a suggestion floated by somebody?
May mga offer. Pwede po bang pinaka-general na gamitin kong word is offer. Ganun po. Hanggang doon na lang po. At pag-iisipan ko pa later on pa yung tanong mo. Pero hanggang for now, ganun lang muna. Thank you, Marlon.
Okay, next is from Joseph Aaron, GMA.
I'm on how are you po?
I am okay, Joseph. I'm always happy to see you.
Ma'am, the vote was 8-6. One justice changing his or her mind, probably his mind. Had a different story for you today. Are you still fighting the MR?
Yung 8-6 na sinasabi nila, sa mind ko po, tinatanggal ko yung 6. Kasi, Joseph, kung yung mga 6 naman talaga nag-inhibit according to the compulsory rules of inhibition, edi 6-2 sana. No? So, ang 6-2, what I got this morning was a moral victory. Technically, it was not a victory, but it is clear to everyone, it was a moral victory. Okay. 6 justices dissented that the co-warrant of petition said that the co-warrant of petition should have been dismissed. 2 said it should have been granted. 2 who were not among the 6. So kung natanggal sana yung ani na yun, edi resounding victory. Hindi nga sila. Kaya, on that basis alone, I have a very strong sense of comfort. Kung sana sumunod sila sa batas, sa aming mga patakaran mismo biruin mo yung nag-aakusa sa'yo, siya pa ang maghuhusga sa'yo. Saan ka nakakita ang lupalop ng mundo na nangyari yun? Kaya, ang paniwala ko po, nanalo po ako. Kasi pinakita po na tama po. Ang panawagan ko naman simple hayaan niyo po ang impeachment trial sa Senado ang maghusga kung ako ay bababa o hindi. Makailang ulit ko namang sinabi na pag ako ay na-convict ng Senado, matapos isang trial, bababa naman ako, walang problema po sa akin. Ngunit kailangan pong maikwento ang kwento ng bayan. Pagkat ang kwento ko po ay kwento ng bayan Paano po ba ang isang public official naninilbihan? Kung paano, halimbawa po, siya ay na-appoint na napakabata at napakahaba ng tenure niya. Kung po nagalit sa kanya ang mga kasamahan niya at nagkaroon ng mga alitan o hidwaan, tama po bang basehan yun upang siya ay patalsikin? Ngayon, ano po ba ang record ng kanyang mga nagawa? Pinagsilbihan ba ho niya ang bayan niya ng buong dalisay at pagpupunyagi? O siya po ba ay may ginawang katiwalian? Naniniwala po ako na ang ganda po ng record ng judiciary dahil po ako sa isang banda po, ako po ay nanilbihan ng husto. Kaya't yung tinatanong ni Joseph na sinasabi ko namang dapat ko pang iwasang saguting tahasan kasi tungkol sa MR yan, Joseph, hindi ko pa nga natatanggap So, hindi muna ho ako sasagot doon except na to tell you that in my view, it was a moral victory more than anything.
No, I'm just following Maura's train of thought. No? Bakit nasa radar screen yung pakikipag-usap kay Presidente to somebody told you it's para mag-solusyonan yung problema mo, you have to talk to him. Why is he in the equation again?
Well, I think it's something that's uppermost in the minds of most people. This is a political contest. At least impeachment is a political contest. So, in the minds of many people, it's a political solution that will solve it. But the political solution can be as deadly as the problem I want solved. I escape one problem, which is to avoid going through the impeachment process only to find myself in the quagmire of perception by the public that I compromise. Can I redeem myself in the eyes of the public if there will always be rumors about me compromising? That's difficult for me, Joseph. I think you know the answer kung bakit nag-iisip ang mga tao ng ganyang sitwasyon.
I'll dig more redirect. Do you think he has sometime in April, he said he's going to finish you off, right? And then this decision, do you think he has something to do with it?
The primary question he has allowed to remain unanswered. Why is it Solicitor General filed it? The Solicitor General that reports to him. He hasn't answered that. He has full control, actually, of many of the decisions in his branch of government. And we know reality. I mean, it's time already for people to stop quibbling about many things. If he does not want it, it could have ended. But it did not end. So, clear as day.
Next question. Huwag niyo yan si Joseph at provide.
Wag na, oo.
One follow-up. You said it. Next question, please. Okay. Name and association.
Hello, ma'am. Patricia Mangunia from TV5. Ma'am, what's your plan? What will you do next? Where will you go after this?
I have already sent basically an invitation to everyone who believe in the same causes that I have surfaced together with the coalition these past few months. And it is to fight for justice and accountability in a landscape where things are getting dimmer, where our rights are being trampled upon, and we cannot be certain anymore that the Constitution is going to be followed. I am a victim today, but I'm just one of so many, thousands upon thousands whose lives have been snuffed out, who continue to remain in detention, who have been unfairly accused or unfairly victimized by the very powerful forces in our society that must be exposed for what they are. For the longest time, we have not had a national conversation. And it would have been a dream fulfilled if I had the chance to engage our people in a national conversation. Ang mga itatanong ko sa mga kabataan, ano ang tingin nyo sa hustisya? Sapat na ba? Nakakakita kayo na ang mga makapangyarihan ay nakakawala at yung mga mahihina ay naroroon pa rin sa piitan o kaya lalong kinigipit? Is that the kind of nation we want? Is it not true that in fact one source of unhappiness of our people and their inability to want to stay here in our country is the lack of justice? That had been a priority for me in my small world in the judiciary, because the judiciary is just part of the justice system. Bigyan ng boses ang maliliit. Hanapin yung puso nila. Anong iniiyak nila? Di ba, mas madaling tiisin yung gutom ka ng isang meal. Hindi ka nakakain ng isang meal o hindi ka nakabayad ng tuition. Mas madali pa nga yung lagpasan sa pagpupunyagi. Pero yung nagpupunyagi ka na, malinis ang konsyensya mo, tapos binubugbog ka pa, napagbintangan ka, itinuro ka, ikinulong ka, nawalan ka ng trabaho, dahil sa tagal mo nasa piitan, iniwan ka na ng pamilya at nagkaroon na ng bagong pamilya, maaari yung iyong asawa, yung mga anak mo tumigil na ng pag-aaral. Hindi ba mas nakakagalit? At yun ang nagbubuo ng puot ng tao? Hindi ba yun ang talagang kondisyon na ayaw talaga ng Diyos na makita sa Pilipinas? Hindi naman tayo kinokondemn ng Diyos sa ating kahirapan. In fact, it is what God wants to redeem us from our poverty. But our lack of justice, our injustice to our own fellow man, the Lord is angry with that. And I can say with full conviction, because the Bible is full of condemnation of countries or nations where justice is not present. So, ang tingin ko talaga, the conversation should be about our country's lack of justice. Ganito na lang po ba, pag napagbintangan ng malalakas at makapangyarihan, tatahimik na lang tayo. Pag tayo ay binaboy ng ating kapwa dahil lamang sila ay nasa pwesto, yuyuko na lang po ba sa tayo at magtitiis? O kailangan ba natin ibigay ang boses natin sa bayan na manindigan, tumayo para sa tama, hindi payagan na ang kamalian at ang katiwalian ay magpatuloy? Ano ang karapatan ng mga korap na manatili sa pwesto? Ano? At napakamilyon-milyong mga taong gustong manilbihan sa bayan, kundi natatakot sila kasi pag hindi sila sumabay sa sistemang baluktot, ipit sila. Yun ang dapat nating pag-usapan bilang bayan. Tama na yung pagpapanggap. Hindi na nakakatulong ang pagpapanggap sa bayan. Sabihin natin ang katotohanan ayon sa talagang nakikita natin na ang mga sistema ng hustisya ay bumabagsak, ang batas ay ginagamit upang manggipit, hindi upang iangat ang tao. Magkokontsaba ang isang branch of government with another branch of government, ipit ka na. Wala na hustisya. Ang mga prosekutor, ang mga abogadong dapat ay para sa mahihirap. Ano ang paninindigan na ginagawa nila? Sa katotohanan ba o sa politika? Saan ba dapat ang paninilbihan ng batas? Hindi ba para sa karapatan ng maliliit? Bakit parang ang pagkakakilala na natin ngayon, lahat tayo malinaw, ang batas ay ginagamit para sa politika. Tama po ba ito? So, kailangan po natin labanan kasi napakadilim po ng ating lipunan.
Follow-up lang, am I sensing po there will be protest anytime soon? May mga ganyan po ba tayo?
Yung, alam nyo, iisa lamang po ako. No? Ilagay nyo ang sarili nyo sa akin. Ako po ay taong magsasabing magprotesta tayo. Parang ang akin kong panawagan ay magsalita tayo. Po? So, kung ano hong gagawin ng taong bayan, malaya po ang mga taong bayan sabihin ang kanilang hinaing. Kung sila po ay maglalagay ng mga placards, ng mga post sa social media, magsasalita sa traditional media, pupunta sa kalye, mag-iingay, bugso ng damdamin na parang may righteous indignation na masasabi natin ang mga gayong pangyayari. So, hindi ko masasabi ko anong reaction talaga ng taong bayan.
Next question? Yes. Ikaw. Name and association.
Good evening, ma'am. Katrina Domingo from abs-cbn News. Ma'am, Justice Leonen expressed his dissent, calling the decision a legal abomination. Did he or any of the other justices reach out to you after the decision was released, and how optimistic are you that your colleagues will overturn the decision once you file the MR?
Wala pa akong kopya, buti pa ikaw na una. Inaamin mo na nag-leak, ha?
No, ma'am, nag-tweet si Justice Leonen.
Ay, tweet! Okay. Nag-tweet na sinabi niya na nandun yun sa desisyon niya.
Yes.
Okay. Ano nga palang tanong mo, Iha?
Ma'am, did he or any of your colleagues reach out to you after the decision was released, and how optimistic are you that your colleagues will overturn the decision once you file the MR?
Personal na tanong na yan. Yung mga yan, para sa memoir ko na yan. Now, optimism is not something that I try to put into reality. Sa akin kasi, I do not calculate, I do not make my actions on the basis of my calculation of my chances. Hindi ako yung, I have to be optimistic so that I have energy. No. When I file something, when I do something, I do it because it is right, regardless of the chances. So whether I'm optimistic, pessimistic, or whatever chances I have, I will have to make my next move, not on the basis of my feelings.
Rian from The Rapper.
Morning, good afternoon.
Hi again.
Ang ama ng araw natin.
Hi again, Lian.
Good evening po.
Hi, Lian.
Kanina sa speech niyo po sa stage after the decision, you mentioned something about bumuo tayo ng kilusan, and then you said nagsisimula pa lang ang laban. I guess what we want to know is that where do you plan to fight this fight? In the Supreme Court, or perhaps are you gonna run for the Senate?
Well, whatever is the appropriate forum. Because, you know, the time is short for our country. You know, many people think that there is much time for our country. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we have allowed apathy. Yung takot kasi, marami kasi natatakot na iniisip nila, it will be all right in the end. But look at what is happening everywhere. Our institutions are falling, Lian. And those who are trying to do right are either in jail or persecuted. Pag titingnan mo naman yung suma total ng reklamo sa akin, talaga napakaliit ba? Ano ba naman yung hindi lang kami nagkakaintindihan yung ilan? Hindi naman lahat In fact, yung mga ibang bumoto sa side na hindi maganda talagang napakaganda ng relasyon namin. So, hindi yun ang issue talaga na to protect my position at all cost. It has never been that. And from the day that I took my oath of office, I said that the moment that it is clear to me that I should no longer be Chief Justice because I can no longer feel pain at the injustice our people are suffering, then that's the time for me to step down. In other words, instrumento lang ako, Lian, talaga, for God to show that something transformative can be done to the judiciary. And I think many of you, kayo nag-cover partially ng judiciary bit, nakita nyo naman yung mga reforms na tuloy-tuloy. And even though that there were people who really wanted me out, natuloy Kahit anong mga issues na kulang ng usapan and everything, you cannot deny the fact that we are going to have a new building and we have a property for the first time in the 117-year history of the court. We have an electronic court system. Hindi mo na yung matatanggal. We are on the way to the 21st century. We have so many reforms, decongestion, we have administrative reforms na ida-download ng MOE sa judges and everything. So, it was never really about me. It was trying to do what is right by the people. And I knew, I never said that I should be there for the longest time possible. And therefore, ipipace ko yung reforms para hindi ako maka-endanger ng tenure ko. In other words, play politics so that I will have a better chance of staying long. Ang sabi ko, I really don't know how much time God will give me. Nobody can say that an 18-year term will be finished. That's too presumptuous for me. Ang nakikita ko lang, our people are crying out for justice. Galit na sila. So whatever it is within my power to do, I will do it with everything I have. And that is what I tried to do. So, yun ang sumatotal ng tingin ko sa aking posisyon.
Senate on your mind.
Ganito na lang. Yung sinasabi nating movement, no? Marami naman dyan mga naaapi. Yung lahat ng mga naaapi, pwede naman magpadala ng communication sa grupong ito. Kasi ang laki-laki nitong grupong ito. At kanina nga, kinausap ko sila Lian. Sabi ko, tayo po ba ay maghihiwa-hiwalay na? Kahit minungkahi ko kaninang tanghali na wag po tayo maghiwa-hiwalay, malaya naman po ang mga kasama ko yung mga nasa koalisyon na sumusuporta sa akin na tumiwalag. Ngunit naging unanimous ang salita nila, hindi daw kami maghihiwa-hiwalay. Kung gayon po, marami naman pong mga naapi, baka gusto ho nilang sumama. At malaman po natin, ano po ang lalim ng kabuktutan at kakulangan ng hustisya sa Pilipinas. Ilista po natin isa-isa. Yung mga may reklamo na napakabaluktot ng justice system, either sa judiciary, sa prosecution, makikinig po tayo. Maglalakap po tayo ng impormasyon. Para ang ating gawing approach na ngayon sa system ay system-wide. Huwag na natin pong iasa sa personalidad ng politika ang kalutasan ng problema ng bayan. Pag-usapan natin ano ang mga bagay sa sistema na ito na nagtatakip sa mga kawalang-hiyaang nangyayari. Ibukas natin yon. At pag-usapan natin bilang bayan. Ang nakikita ko nga ngayon is what is happening is unmasking of wrongs. Ngayon, wala na tayong pretension that everything is all right. It's not. So, if it's not all right, what are those things that are making it not all right? Anong klaseng panggigipit ng politiko, ng mataas na public official, ng mababang public official, ng bureaucracy? Ano yung mga rules na nagkakagipit sa mahihirap? Ano ang budgetary system na nagpapahirap? Ano ang congressional system na nagpapahirap sa sitwasyon ng ating bayan? Kamusta ang mga LGUs? Naninindigan ba sila para sa maliliit? O ang iniisip lang nila is the 3-year electoral cycle? Pag-usapan po natin ang hustisya. Let us make it the most important issue of our nation. So much injustice, so much bloodshed, so much wrongdoing, so much corruption. It is time for us to stop. Think, ano po ba ang direksyon ng ating bayan? Ayusin po natin. Kaya po natin. Sa tulong ng Diyos, na sinasabi naman po ng preambulo ng konstitusyon, siya ang tutulong sa atin. At tayo po, makakarating po tayo sa magandang lugar.
One more if I may. Ma'am,
okay yan?
Rappler naman
Okay, sige. Rappler, sige. Bard. Joseph, Bard na rin ba kayo, Joseph? Na-bar na rin kayo? Ay, hindi.
Two questions lang.
Hindi, pagbigyan mo na siya, ha? Okay lang.
Your appointment was very historic. You're the first woman Chief Justice, youngest Chief Justice. I guess, do you see a painful irony that it's going to probably end this way? It's a historic, unprecedented ouster through an unconstitutional means, so you say?
An outsider, a reformer, and someone who is not willing to play politics should already be anticipating this possible outcome. Because when you try to change things, when you try to say the old culture cannot go on the way it has been going, makakabangga muli yan eh. Palagay ko kayo sa journalism, nakita niyo ang dami-dami niyong nakita ng mga reformists sa iba't ibang sangay, even in private organizations, di ba? So, it is not truly unexpected. What I did not anticipate, and I'm so positively encouraged by, is that in the 5.5 years that I served as Chief Justice, so much change happened. You know, judges privately send me messages and say, and they continue to encourage me, and they say, they will look up to you, Chief. What I have requested the judges is because I know the culture. Dito sa Pilipinas, pag ang isang partido magwagi, no, nanggaganti. So I'm realistic enough, these judges should not, I was telling them, you know, you have a great deal of service you can give to the people, serve with all fidelity. Please, I will take this fight. I will fight, and I have new friends from the coalition, and we will fight for this, but guard what you already have. In other words, in your respective field, be as independent, as conscientious, as diligent, and as excellent as you can be. Because we will be able to recapture judicial independence if we put our minds to it, if we ask God for help, and we are all collectively committed to that, we will be able to do that again. And not only the judiciary, because the judiciary is just one part of the justice system. Mas masakit pa nga kung yung mga prosecution at yung law enforcement at yung investigative agencies natin hindi tumutulong. So, I keep on encouraging them, don't give up ever. Ang aking pinakamagandang nakita is the move of God in the judiciary. You have never seen such kind of reforms, even in our financial systems. Inayos namin. To the fact na sabi ng COA, grabe naman ito. This is the first justice that ever attended several exit interviews and personally attended to the notations or observations that COA has. And we keep on improving our systems. Yung downloading ng MOOE, yung overtime pay para sa mga mabababa, yung pag-equalize ng pay ng mga lower court employees, yung pagbigay ng benefits sa mga employees na unprecedented, hindi talaga ito, hindi mo masasabing, and kasi pati nga yung, and I will point to the special situation of the court social workers in that regard. I could not imagine. I was doing my cases, I was presiding over the NBank, I'm still a member of the division, ang dami-dami kong adjudicative function, at the same time, ang dami akong ginagawa at public engagement, public speaking, and at the same time, push for radical reform. Pero yung EISP, a 4 billion peso project na push, and then binigyan kami ng pera, never before yan, naisip na possible. That for the longest time, may pera for computerization, hindi nagagamit. Now you have a fantastic system. Tuloy-tuloy na, pati yung mga biddings and awards, tuloy-tuloy na yan. So I wanted actually to tell people, look, we should not give up on our country. It is worth fighting and dying and living for. You know why? God is just so good. Kaya niyang gawin na i-transform ang any institution the way I saw Him do that in the judiciary. Enough men and women with all good faith, working very hard, showing themselves to be heroes in their everyday work. Ang ganda ng transformation. Yung automated hearing, people cry when they get orders. Right after the hearing, nakakawala na yung mga prisoners. You cannot find any more dramatic sets of reforms as that in the judiciary. And it would have been a good story because I would have told the nation, be confident in ourselves, be confident in what the Filipinos can do. We can correct the system that you have decried as unjust. Kaya po nating baguhin. Basta't sama-sama lang po tayo, huwag tayong magbitawan. And I would have said, kaya nga po, yung mga konting away po, pwede na ho nating palagpasin. Huwag na ho natin masyadong pansinin. Kundi tuunan po natin, ano ba ho ang ibig sabihin ng totoong pagsisilbi na sa bayan. That would have been the fantastic story. And the Filipino would have felt triumphant. And the Filipino would have felt hopeful, proud, dignified about his place. Kasi pinupuri na ho tayo ng mga iba't ibang bansa dahil sa mga nakikita nilang maliliit na pagbabago. Kaso, nandun pa lang ho sa stage na yun hindi pa ho nga natin nagagawa nationwide. I was hoping, if God will give me more time, ayusin po natin. And we were already positively infecting the other branches of government, like from the DILG, from the DOJ, kasama natin sila. Kasama rin po natin yung CFA, yung Constitutional Fiscally Autonomous Agencies as a government. We agreed that our rallying cry should be public service at its best, the gold standard for public service among the CFAs. That would be COA, COMELEC, and sabi ko, magawa tayo ng credo of accountability. Tayo magtaas ng standards natin. And tuwan-tuwa po naman, kasama po kami sa CFAC nila Justice Chid, nila Chairman Mike, at COMELEC po, at Civil Service, at yung mga predecessor chairpersons nila. Nag-agree kami. Let's push professionalism in this country. Let's make sure that the constitutional agencies of government, like the three constitutional bodies, are professional so that we do not leave our future in the hands of politicians. That's the problem that we have. Ang kinabukasan natin, nasa kamay ng mga politiko. Ang dapat po, meron talagang very strong professional bureaucracy na mag-guide ng bansang ito. COMELEC, kahit sino nanalo, titindig yan sa kung sinong tama at sinong malinis sa larangan ng eleksyon. Ang civil service, hindi pagbibigyan ng mga politiko, kundi sasabihin, ito po ang merit-based system natin. Ang COA, kahit na po inaaway siya mismo ng pinakamataas na pinuno ng bayan, maninindigan siya sa kanyang competence, which is trying to audit what is happening to government properties and assets. So, kung ganun po sana, tapos ang judiciary professional, di kahit ho anong gulo sa larangan ng politika, hindi ho mayayanig ang bayan. Kasi tatakbo po doon sa mga professionals Hindi sila papaapi sa mga politicians. Ngayon ho, para ang nangyayari, nananaig ang politiko. Nakakatakot po yung ganun. When politicians who have short sights and very personalistic and selfish agendas are the ones who dominate the country, our country is in very difficult spot. Hindi ko tayo makakapag long-range planning. Kasi ho, anytime papalitan ng policy ng politician. Yung pera ho ng bayan, mawawala. Kasi anytime, gigipitin nila ang COA. Hindi po pwedeng mangyari na ang politicians ang number one na magsasabi sa dikta ng bayan. Kailangan po batas, accountability, konstitusyon, demokrasya. Yun po ang buod ng pagkakakilala ko sa plano ng Panginoon sa ating bayan. Rinerespeto niya ang katalinuhan ng bawat Pilipino. Kaya sinasabi niya, Pilipino, mangusap ka sa tama. Manindigan mo ito at ito ang iyong tayaan. Kaya pag sinasabi ng politicians, walang tama o mali, kung ano lang ang gusto ko, kailangan po tayong manindigan.
Okay, next question. Okay.
Magalit na sa pagkakas. Ang tanong ko lang, may pakiramdam po ba kayo na usap kita mga maestrado na tumala na panis kayo? Mas nakapagalit sa kanila yung personal na sentiment kaysa kung kayo nasa salita ng panis?
Yung anim po, malinaw naman, formal kong hinain yun. Kayo ang nag-akusa. Sinabihan yung hindi ako dapat nakaluklok sa pwesto. Bakit hindi kayo mag-inhibit? Kayo rin naman, kung nasa lugar ko, ayaw nyo yung nag-aakusa. Nandyan, na siya rin ang inyong huwes. So, malinaw po yun. Nalulungkot po ako talaga kasi sana po naging panahon para i-redeem ng Supreme Court ang sarili niya, ang majority. Kasi may mga ikinalulungkot na pong mga desisyon ang taong bayan. Ngunit hindi ho yun ang nangyari. Ang hudyat sa akin, no? Ang tingin ko, ang hudyat dito sa atin, mag-usapan pa po tayo ng tapatan. Ano po ba ang personal na agenda at ano po ba ang agenda para sa taong bayan? Hindi po ba ang bawat isang huwes kailangan kaya niyang isang tabi yung mga personal niyang hinaing at maghusga ng tama? At kung hindi niya kaya, huwag siyang sumama sa husgahan.
Ano po yung masasabi niyo doon sa integridad naman? Yung isang hukom na mas nananaig sa kanya yung personal na sentimento kaysa doon sa sinasabi natin.
Ang naniniwala po ako sa batas ng Diyos at sa batas ng tao, integridad ang pangunang kahilingan upang ikaw ay maging isang hukom. Alam niyo po sa Biblia, ang dami-dami pong kondemnasyon sa mga unjust judges. Kaya simula pa po ng mga sibilisasyon, yan na po ang norm sa society. Kaya nakakalungkot po.
Okay, last two questions.
Ma'am Dana Batnat from GG Press. Earlier, sinabi nyo na yung mga may complaint na pili nila nalibigyan sila ng kawalan ng hustisya ay maaaring mag-communicate sa coalition at pag-usapan at ilista doon kung ano yung mga reklamo at mga pangyayari. Does this mean that we will have a national conversation? Are you going to go around the country to discuss cases or stories of injustices?
Ito po ay isang proposal ko, no po. Hindi ko pa nga ako nakukonsulta ng gusto ng aking mga kasama. Kasi sila po, magagaling po sila sa ganitong mga aksyon. Yung pagkuha ng mga istorya ng taong bayan. Kumbaga, isang kwentuhan po ng bayan, istorya ng taong bayan. Ano po ba yun? Proposal ko po yan. At kung kailangan po akong makipag-usap sa taong bayan, gagawin ko po yun. Kasi maganda ho kasing siguro makikita nila. Unang-una, tatanungin nila, ikaw Chief Justice, ano po ba ang nakikita nyo mismo na structural problems? Ngayon, meron po ako mga suggestions sa tayong bayan kung paano po natin i-address yung structural problems natin. Kasi may strukturang masama yan kaya paulit-ulit yung injustice. Pangalawa, bilang isang biktima ng injustice, kayo mismo, ano po ang nararamdaman nyo at paano kayo nagko-cope dito? No? Ang sasabihin ko po, sa isang banda po, nakalulungkot. At lalong-lalo na po nung namamaalam ako sa... Sabi kong kasi maaring panahon na para maghiwalay yung ibang kasama ko at ako, nakakalungkot masyado yun, masakit yun. Ngunit sa isang banda, ipakikita ko na sana po na pansamantala lang naman yung ganitong kalungkutan. Kasi ang mas dapat manaig sa ating puso ay yung pagmamahal sa kapwa na makikilala sa pagkikipaglaban para sa kanyang kapakanan. Kasi kung halimbawa, ang isang tao na nakaramdam ng isang dagok sa buhay, natalo ka, problem ka ng injustice, magmumukmuk na lang. Siyempre may panahon ng kaunting bahagyang pagluluksa. Ngunit ikaw ay aatras at sasabihin, nakakaawa ang sitwasyon ko. Sana, huwag na lang akong guluhin ng mundo kasi dumaan ako sa matinding hirap. Ngunit ang tingin ko ang mas maganda po ay ibaling niya ito sa kabutihan. Ang sitwasyon niya napakasama, na napakasakit. Gawin niyang redemptive. Ipakita niya ang kabutihang kaya pang gawin sa tunay na pakikipaglaban. But this time, yung pakikipaglaban niya, buong-buo na ang kanyang puso. Kasi dumaan siya sa ganong hirap. So yung taong sobra rin naapi, kaya-kaya niya maintindihan. Kasi yun rin ang nadaanan niya. At mas magiging malinaw ang boses at pagpapaliwanag niya sa sitwasyon ng taong bayan. Hindi na kasi mula sa isang opisina na air-conditioned kundi kasama mo na talaga sa hirap. Yun ang tinitingnan ng kung maaaring mangyari.
Comment lang, pero may isa pa akong tanong. You sound like you're talking about yourself.
Siguro maaaring masabi na parang ehemplo po, Dana. Kasi hindi naman ho talaga natin kukubli na mayroon naman pong hirap at sakit po ito. So, ngunit, tingnan po natin ito na hindi lang tungkol sa akin Mas malawakan po ang hirap ng taong bayan. Mas marami pong kawawa talaga. Na wala na talaga pag-asa sa buhay kasi ando na sila nakakulong na pagbintangan ng napakatagal. Yun, malagim at masakit na sitwasyon yun. Kasi hiwalay sila sa pamilya dahil iniwan na siguro sila at lahat. Kumbaga, Dana, parang sabihin na natin na kung nangyari ito sa Chief Justice na naging biktima ng isang injustice, paano pa ang iba? Paano pa ang iba?
Last follow-up question, ma'am. Several times, binanggit nyo na you mentioned ang isang paniliman na bumabalik ka sila sa sinabi mo, kailangan manindigan. Manindigan kayo at manindigan iba. Paano nyo balak manindigan, and are you calling on other Filipinos na manindigan kasama nyo?
Hindi po ba ang nakikita natin ngayon ay kabuktutan at karahasan? Kayo nga ho nasa media ang unang-unang nakakaalam nun eh. Kami ho, karamitan, nakukuha lang namin ang balita mula sa inyo. Kayo ang nagbibigay sa amin ng katotohanan. At ang malinaw naman po ang magiging konklusyon ng kahit sino pong Pilipino. Napakadilim po ng ating kapaligiran. Kaya't yung gagawin ng mga kasama, yung sasama po sa kilusang ito, ay pag sinabi po nila na sila ay kasama sa advokasya para sa hustisya at accountability, lalong-lalo na para sa maliliit, paninindigan kong matindi yun. Kasi imbes na yung mga kasamahan ko mamuhay ng komportable, mas madali pong kumita na lang ng pera at takpan ng mata sa nangyayaring kabuktutan. Ang gagawin ho nila, itataya nila ang buhay nila dito. Palagay ko, kahanga-hanga po yun. Kakaibang pananindigan ang gagawin nila kasi nakikita nila maraming takot. Parang sila na po ang magsa-stand in upang yung mga takot dahan-dahan lumabas at mahanap ang kanilang boses at sabihin, kami yun. Kami yung sinasabi mong inaapi. Kami yung walang hustisya. Ngayon, kung mangyari po yun na dahil sa kilusang ito ay lalabas po yung mga ganyang mga boses, magkakaroon po ng transformasyon ang ating bayan. Kasi hindi na po tayo maglulukuhan sa isa't isa. Ano po ba ang problema ng hustisya? Sagutin na natin po.
Okay, huli na po. Meron pa bang question? Last question. Si Marlon, is mo huli. Okay.
Keith, I was tempted to ask sana kung sino walang iyang politiko. Pinapagod pero hindi na. Keith, kanina po, during the deliberation, did you thought of kausapin yung mga fellow magistrates before leaving the room?
Minabuti ko na po na hindi talaga na lumabas na kagad mula sa kwarto. Yun ho ang minabuti ko. So, okay na yun. Trivia yun eh. Maraming salamat po.
Salamat po sa inyong lahat sa inyong pagdalo. Be safe.
Maraming pong salamat sa inyo. Hi. Doon na lang. Doon na lang. Ha? No. I want to go down na. Diba? Down na ako, ha?
A very lighthearted former Chief Justice Lourdes Sereno facing the media after several hours after the Supreme Court. Her colleagues voted to oust her from her position and giving due course to that quo warranto petition that the Solicitor General Jose Calida had filed against her. That press conference lasting for a little bit over an hour, where she said that it is a historic day. She used the term makasaysayan. She also said that this setback is only temporary, and that she was urging people to fight this darkness, to form a movement. A little bit later on in the press conference, one of the reporters asked her what she meant by that. But what she said was that people who had rallied around her were willing to help, and that if there were any complaints that about injustice, that these complaints could be forwarded to these people. The former Chief Justice also was asked by our Anjo Limario about what the mood was like and how she felt when she saw her colleagues for the first time after returning from an indefinite leave. The former Chief Justice Sereno saying that she welcomed the opportunity to face them and that she had returned because she was performing a constitutional duty as Chief Justice. She did say that when she heard what the decision was, that she said a prayer and that she said that it was God's will and that she was accepting this, but that she would always fight for what is right. There was also a question about if there were any offers for her to speak to President Duterte. She said, and we quote, "May mga offer," but she said that she could not bring herself to do that because, like she said, in the minds of some people, if this is a political problem, the solution should be political, and that she said she wouldn't be able to live with herself if she did that. Of course, we all know a little background to this. The relationship between President Duterte and Chief Justice Sereno. Several weeks back, the president had said that Sereno was his enemy. This, of course, was in response to a challenge from Sereno for the president to prove that he was not behind that quo warranto petition that the Solicitor General filed. Many people remember that day. The president, of course, very angry, saying that she had just effectively made her his enemy. Well, going back to the press conference, of course, Sereno also saying that she was asked about Marvic Leonen, one of the associate justices who voted in her favor. She was asked about what she felt about what he had said in a tweet. He had said that this was a legal abomination. And she was asked if any of her colleagues had reached out to her after the decision came out. For a moment, it seemed like Sereno did not understand the question. She thought what the reporter was saying was that the dissenting opinions, the decision itself was already out. And she said, whoa, that means that these decisions have been leaked. And then she was corrected and was told that Leonen had said that in a tweet. Now, also Sereno saying that, and she said it in the vernacular, maraming natatakot, many are afraid, institutions are falling, those who try to do right are persecuted. And that was the point when she was asked again about, when she was asked what she meant by that movement. And I repeat, she said that lahat ng inaapi pwede magpadala ng message sa grupong ito. She gestured towards people in the room. We're not sure exactly who she meant, but these are people who had rallied around her and had thrown their support behind her. She called them a coalition of people who supported her. She was also asked about the fact that her appointment as Chief Justice was very historic. Of course, she's the youngest and first woman Chief Justice. She said that she's been serving as Chief Justice for 5.5 years. She said that she knows the culture of the judiciary. She had said that she had reminded judges to be as independent and as conscientious as possible. She also spoke at length about what she said were dramatic reforms, including financial reforms in the judiciary. And she also said that the country's problems are brought about by the fact, she said, that when our future is in the hands of politicians, she said the only recourse to this would be if the bureaucracy was a very strong and professional bureaucracy. Now, earlier she was asked about if any of her colleagues had reached out to her, but she said that was something that she would divulge in a memoir. Now, also, we just wanted to make a little bit of a correction. Earlier, I was reading the names of the 6 justices who had voted against that quo warranto petition. I had mistakenly said Hardeleza. Hardeleza, of course, is one of the 8 who voted for the quo warranto. I was referring I should have said Mariano del Castillo. So we're showing you that what we call graphics, no, and we wanted to do a little review now. So those who voted to grant the petition, Teresita de Castro, Diosdado Peralta, Lucas Bersamin, Francis Hardelesa, Samuel Martires, Noel Tiham, Andres Reyes, Alexander Gesmundo. De Castro, of course, is retiring by October 8, 2018. She has been recommended for the position of Ombudsman. Conchita Carpio Morales is going to be retiring very soon. The 6 who voted to dismiss the petition: Antonio Tony Carpio, Senior Associate Justice; Mariano del Castillo; Presbitero Velasco, who is going to be retiring this August 8, later this year; Estela Perlas Bernabe, Marvic Leonen, and Alfredo Caguiwa. Of course, Marvic Leonen in a tweet saying that this decision was a legal abomination. Right now, we're waiting to speak to an official of the Supreme Court Employees Association. We're going to be speaking to him in just a bit so that we can get his thoughts on what has happened so far. But we're going to do that after the break. We're going to take a short break. This is breaking news on CNN Philippines.
Respondent is ousted and excluded therefrom.
Araw na ito ay hindi katapusan, kundi simula lamang.
Breaking news on CNN Philippines. The biggest story of the day: Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno ousted by her colleagues and in a very unprecedented move, a very historic move. Again, our top story tonight, the Chief Justice, the former Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno, moments ago just wrapping up a press conference. We're going to be speaking in a bit to our correspondent, Justice correspondent, Anjo Alimario. But before that, he's going to break things down for us in this report.
A historic ruling: an impeachable official removed from post without a Senate trial. Majority of the Supreme Court justices voted to oust Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno from her post. 8 associate justices voted to grant the quo warranto case filed by Solicitor General Jose Calida. They are Teresita Leonardo de Castro, Diosdado Peralta, Lucas Bersamin, Francis Hardelesa, Samuel Martires, Noel Tiham, Andres Reyes, and Alexander Gesmundo. 6 others opposed the petition: Antonio Carpio, Presbitero Velasco, Mariano del Castillo, Estela Perlas Bernabe, Marvic Leonen, and Alfredo Benjamin Caguiwa.
Wherefore, the petition for quo warranto is granted. Respondent Maria Lourdes P.A. Sereno is found disqualified from and is hereby adjudged guilty of unlawfully holding and exercising the office of the Chief Justice. Accordingly, Respondent Maria Lourdes P.A. Sereno is ousted and excluded therefrom.
9 justices voted Sereno violated the Constitution when she failed to file her silence. The ruling also declares the Chief Justice position vacant and directs the Judicial and Bar Council to begin the application and nomination process. The decision is immediately executory, but it doesn't end there. The court also gives an order to its former chief.
Respondent Maria Lourdes P.A. Sereno is ordered to show cause within 10 days from receipt hereof why she should not be sanctioned for violating the Code of Professional Responsibility and the Code of Judicial Conduct, for transgressing the sub judice rule, and for casting aspersions and ill motives to the members of the Supreme Court.
Solicitor General Jose Calida accused Sereno of failing to show she's a person of proven integrity because she failed to file all her statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth at some point. But Sereno argued she religiously filed all her SALs. It's just that she can't find some of them. She would have wanted to have her day at the Senate impeachment court to tell her story to the Filipino people. But it's still up to the House of Representatives if it will still pursue the impeachment complaint. Anjo Alimario, CNN Philippines.
Supreme Court Associate Justice Marvic Leonen says Sereno's ouster shows the High Court bowing to a, quote, aggressive Solicitor General. On Twitter, Leonen says that the quo warranto petition should have been dismissed outright. He explains it does not deserve space in a judicial deliberation within the constitutional democratic space. Leonen also says using the quo warranto as means to oust the Chief Justice is a, quote, legal abomination. Leonen voted against the petition. He was one of 6. Now we have on the phone right now Erwin Ocson. He is the president of the Supreme Court Employees Association. Good evening, Erwin. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Ms. Pia.
Okay, Erwin, can you tell us first what is your role, your function in the Supreme Court?
I'm a statistician.
Statistician. What do you do as a statistician?
We're counting cases all over the Philippines.
Counting?
Yes.
Counting cases. Okay, so you're president of the Supreme Court Employees Association. How does the association feel about everything that has happened?
Actually, we're very happy that the decision was in our favor. And that's what we're fighting for, actually. The Chief Justice should be spared from this debacle if she followed our call for resignation.
The Chief Justice should be spared from this if she followed your call for resignation. What do you mean?
Maybe the benefits, expect that, and the subsequent sanctions that may be imposed upon her. So it will be spared if she filed her resignation.
So mas gusto pa ninyo na dapat nag-resign na lang siya instead of umabot pa sa ganito na tinanggal siya ng kanyang mga kasamahan.
Yes, Pia.
Okay. You believe that this is a constitutional and legal way to remove a justice or a chief justice?
It is best left to the judgments of the justices. So sila na po yung nag-decide. So, and for us, court employees, we respect and abide by the decision of the majority of the court and bank.
Even if the Constitution says that a Chief Justice can only be removed via impeachment?
Actually, it is their judgment. They are the ones in authority to decide on the matter. So there are 14 independent minds who decided on the petition for quo warranto.
Okay. Erwin, ano ba yung ayaw nyo kay Chief Justice? I'm sorry, kay Mrs. Sereno.
May mga concerns na hindi kasi na-address dun sa aming as kawani, as court employees.
Oo.
May mga, siyempre, taga-loob po kami. So, yung mga inner workings po dun sa loob. So, yan, naranasan namin yan.
Oo nga.
Tapos,
so, ano nga yung mga inner workings na ayaw ninyo as court employees na naging dahilan para hingin nyo yung kanyang resignation? Tapos, ito na nga, humantong sa ganito na quo warranto na lang.
Sa panig naman ng empleyado kasi iba naman yung mga issue namin pero sinusuportahan nga namin kasi yung call. Unang-una dyan yung mga approval na mga request namin na iba't iba yan, sa motsari yan, sa mga benefits, sa mga kung ano-ano mga sa appointment, meron dyan disgruntled kumbaga nade-demoralize dahil nagkakaroon lang kami ng once a year na deliberation on the appointment or promotions where in fact yung mga previous Chief Justices namin, every month meron kaming movement dun sa aming mga positions.
So she did not act on mga appointments, benefits also? Kaya ayaw niya sa kanya?
Mga gut issues about the employees. Yan yung, siyempre, primarily, yan yung concern namin doing Court Employees Association. So yun yung concern natin.
Okay, so benefits, promotions, appointments, ano pa? Ano pa yung mga issue nyo sa kanya?
Meron din yung may mga policies din kasi na, for example, yung mga review na may mga inaayos sila mga policies na sa tingin namin cause ng mga delays lang para sa amin. Delay sa ano? Delay sa ano at saka anong policy yon na ayaw ninyo? Yun din, yung mga ganon, yung mga approval naman, kasi yung mga approval ng mga request namin. So, sa mga appointments, supplies, ganyan.
Okay.
Marami sa hindi na namin siguro may isa-isa pa yan eh.
Okay. Sige, huling tanong na lang ano. Kanina sa kanyang press conference, sabi ni former Chief Justice Lourdes Sereno na she was able to implement dramatic reforms in the judiciary. Nakita niyo po ba yon?
Siguro hindi naman ganun kalaki yung impact na nakita namin eh. Actually, mayroong mga projects na may mga siguro it's time for the na kailangan i-review din yung mga reform projects na yan. So hindi kami absolutely tawag nito confident or something mga ganon masasabi na sang-ayon din na talagang totally may reform na nangyayari.
Okay. Well, anyway, Erwin, maraming salamat. No? Thank you very much. We need to end this show already. Maraming salamat kay Erwin Ocson, yung President ng Supreme Court Employees Association. This has been CNN Philippines breaking news coverage of the ouster of Lourdes Sereno, Supreme Court Chief Justice. I'm Pia Ontiveros. Thank you for watching.